question, would castrating himself fix that, or would a mental stimulation and mental turned onness also count for the curse?
But it would have healed and come back.
Oh, yes! You're right.
So he could have castrated himself, so it wouldn't matter. And that's part of the curse, is that no matter what, he can't lose it.
His dick has a lot of scars.
Oh, no!
Ribbed for her pleasure.
Oh, my God, Maria, I need to walk for a second. Stop it.
Oh, my God, I'm very funny.
Welcome to another episode of Unresolved Textual Tension. Today it is Maria and I. And we are discussing a book called Kill the Beast by Sarah Swift. Maria, what is the general concept behind this book, if you would like to not have the review, but know the general idea behind it? Yeah.
So the premise of this book is and I didn't know this going in. I had no fucking clue until about halfway through, where I was like, is this a motherfucking Beauty of the Beast retelling?
Stop it. Come on.
I didn't know.
Okay, wait. Pause. Everybody that's listening, all three of you now and any number of you later, I want you to know, Maria and I were in a bookstore together, and we had the picture of the front title in front of us, and I was like, oh, look at this. It's a Beauty and the Beast retelling. It's called Kill the Beast. Look at the summary, Maria. It looks kind of good. And then she read it, and she was like, yeah, I guess so. And then
forgot.
A month or two passed, and now it's on our list, which I was like, hey, did you add it because I could have swore I sent it to Will, and I was like, I want to do this book, and then I wasn't on the list to do the book, and I was like, wait, is this just a book that was really popular by people, or did he take my questioning? But anyway, I cannot believe Maria did not remember.
This. I don't remember that at all, and I barely looked at the cover. I just downloaded it and started reading it. And
fair enough.
And so I didn't engage with anything. I literally was like, because I finished Alchemized and was like, I need to start something else.
You were just killed by it.
Yeah, no, Katie, let me tell you, I don't know if you've watched that video. Katie, it was so weird. Anyway, so I just jumped into this. So I legitimately I was like, oh, we're in a general fantasy setting. We're killing beasts. There's all these different hound things. And then and then about halfway through, I was like,
is this a Beauty and the Beast retelling?
Yeah, and it would kind of have the vibe of, is this play about us kind of thing?
Yes.
Where I was like, what the hell? But anyway, this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and we're set in a generic kind of fantasy world. I forgot the name of it, but
Ibernica.
Yeah, Ibernica. It almost kept reminding me of.
I can't believe I remembered that.
Yeah, I'm impressed. What I kept thinking of was the ham, Iberico ham from Spain, and that's what I was thinking of from a foodie perspective. But anyway,
yeah.
And in this world, there is the fairies and fae creatures, and then there are the humans. But as the humans have populated, got rid of
and they're industrializing, too.
And they're industrializing. The fairies have gotten trapped on this side of the world and can't really get back to the fae realm. And it has caused tensions. And some humans have positive relationships with fae and some don't. And there are also these things called hounds. And hounds are fairy-made monsters that just kill people. And it's really bad. And our main character, her name is Lysa. She's a fae killer. She kills trolls. She kills goblins. She kills red caps, any fae she can get her hands, she'll kill. But she's also killed a couple hounds, which is really impressive because they're supposed to be unkillable. So she's got a reputation, and she's big, beefy.
She's 5'10". She's got muscles that are not feminine, and she's got a tattoo on both forearms. One is an axe and a smithing something. A smithing whatever, and then the other one is something else, and she's just she's
got braids, and
she's butch,
and she's burly, and she has her faithful dog Brandy, and the basic premise of the book is she has 1 pound that she's wanted to kill her whole life. It's called the Beast of Buxton Hill, and she's like, that beast killed my brother. I need to kill him. And her entire life and all of her fae killing has been building to this moment. And the start of this book, she meets a man who's like, I'd like to hire you to kill the beast. I know where he is, and I know I have some information. And she's like, perfect. But oh no, for some reason, the magical stones of her witch lady friend says that she has to take this guy with her, and they have to do the emotional connection stuff of building the weapon to kill the beast together. Hijinks ensue. That's and also the guy is a bit of a dandy. He's rich, he's super wealthy, he loves pretty clothes, and he does cross stitch. I don't know if it was actually cross stitch. I think it was knitting.
It was knitting,
Yeah,
but I think he
knitting.
probably cross stitches too.
Yeah, but judging by him, I definitely think he also cross stitches. But anyway, and so these two, this unlikely pair, this buddy cop duo, if you will, must go off together and in an employer-employee relationship or employer-hiree person, and
while also being partners.
Yeah, and then they bond a bit and hijinks ensue, and that's the book. That's the premise of the book.
I would say this is not explicitly romance. So this is not something that you would want to go into thinking, oh, I'm going to get my romance kick out of it. There is, you can view it as romance, you can view it as friendship, but the point is that is not the point of the book. So I just wanted to make a disclaimer on that in case you're like, oh, is this where they fall in love and there's like sex and no, none of that happens.
I would say it is very much interested in exploring like true love and love,
yes,
in the terms of friends and in
Trust.
A strong platonic way that I think is super valid and I actually really love. So thoughts before we dive into the plot and we get into that, like some I have mixed feelings on this book. I think Katie and I texted this morning, and she too has mixed feelings. Because on one hand, so this is a debut novel. This is this author's first novel. And for the most part, I think it's a fairly like decent first novel, especially compared to some things we've read. It's actually like
very successful
in a lot of ways. I have mixed feelings because I find the world building very paper thin. The setting and description of like where they are, very paper thin. And then there's some like emotional beats where like the book has to tell you, like instead of just describing what's happening and you're being like, they're becoming friends. The book's like,
and they were becoming friends.
She was hit by a pang of emotion. What was this? Friendship? And it kind of undercuts the like scenes because I'm sitting there, you know me. I love a good like unlikely pairing becoming friends. Like that's my cup of tea. And then I'm like, stop telling me. Stop, like you're ruining it. Just let the scene stand. Just remove the descriptions and just let me see her smile. Let me see them get close to each other. It's kind of like it would be like if in the middle of Mad Max Fury Road, during that scene where
and Max felt for kinship with her.
Yeah, if he just went like while he's helping Furiosa shoot that gun because she needs to, and she uses Max, I think, as if she was like, wow, we've really gotten close, and he's like, yeah. Just if in the middle of that scene, they turned to each other and they were like, you know what? I didn't trust you before, but
we trust each other, and that might mean friendship.
and it's just like, don't do that.
No.
And a couple of people, and Katie, I want your opinions on this. A couple of people in the Discord were noting that Lysa felt not like other girls initially, and that they eventually had to like warm up to her character. And I have a little bit of, I think, a bit of a differing opinion.
I do
too. With that, because I do think, and the book undermines itself because as I was reading it, I was actually really pleased because for me, what makes Not Like Other Girls problematic is when the female character is being compared to other female characters or other women, like they're thinking or other people are thinking about the other women as lesser or like she's cool because of so for me it's all about how other characters interact. Like if other characters are like, oh my god, you're such a stinky, smelly like, oh, you're not ladylike and you should be more like Angela. And then from the narrative point of view, everybody's like, Angela sucks kind of thing. Yeah. That for me makes Not Like Other Girls.
It's too heavy-handed.
Exactly. For me, what I initially liked about this is that we met multiple female characters who didn't bat an eyelash at Lysa, and even male characters who were like,
Well,
Lysa, how are you doing?
well, there's a very, very, very small side character that is, and by I mean very small side. I mean she never appears again. But she's a battle axe of a woman, and she's it's literally said twice. And she serves. She's the bar wench, I guess. At this place towards the beginning, and Lysa and her vibe with each other. It's because they're both like the same type of built woman, and they both like have similar like sentiments. So it's the thing is it's not that. I don't think that's the problem. Personally, may I transition to real quick to some of mine, or do you want to continue real quick before I get
let me
mine?
just finish, because what I was gonna say is that like there's a character, I think her name is Mary in the beginning, who like and also like she meets someone she hasn't seen in years who isn't like, oh my god, Lysa, you're still dressing that way, you're still there's no characters.
Dickie.
Yeah,
Dickie doesn't have that response. It's a character that never comes up again either.
there's very little scenes where people are like, oh my god, you unfeminine woman, and the only time when it comes up is because of how she dresses in a
Very rich area with expectations.
The author undermines herself by there's this whole monologue where she was like, Alderic isn't used to women like her, he's used to women, and then describes all of the things I was like, there's just like a paragraph where the author does everything I just said don't do as far as comparing her to other women. Like, I think it works much better if you just don't. Like, she obviously is not a housewife, she's obviously not a damsel in distress,
but pointing at it makes it gimmicky, whereas not pointing at it makes it effective.
Yes. Chris M says, TBH, I found her a little edgy at the start, and I will give you that. She kind of like calms
at the
down.
Start? You mean okay, so this is what I'll wait till my turn. Continue.
Yeah. And I would agree with that. I found that entire initial first scene very I like, oh, she's a little edgy kind of thing. Specific, like with the whole troll head and her going into the restaurant.
That didn't bother me.
And the 1 shilling, I was like, I was with the business guy. I was like, you couldn't have waited for me to get back into the office for a shilling?
Yeah, I think that should have been boosted up a little bit just for the sake of sense. And I actually like that scene just fine because it shows you she doesn't care about social standards, which you already know later on very easily. But the thing actually that I had trouble with that, and I'm just going to very quickly state it, I had trouble that she didn't do more of that towards the beginning. I wish there were more situations where because that showed cleverness, ingenuity, friendship, being able to make relationships and make partnerships, because she made a partnership with the person that worked at the restaurant in order to to make the whole process happen. She knew people there already. I thought old companions from the gang were going to come up again once or twice maybe. I liked that she did all of that because it showed ingenuity and creativity and also spite in a way that was more fun-loving than just pure vengeance. And I thought that we were going to get that maybe once or twice more, but this is what my issue is, and once Maria's and I'll go into
No, you go. You continue this thought. That was my point.
I really think that, unfortunately, Lysa is becomes incredibly one-note after that initial scene. I think that initial scene really has a lot of goodness in it, as far as like, not that I like it. I don't like it personally. I don't know. I've seen like maybe 1 or 2 actual novels that we've read, but I've seen a lot of people who've given me their writing start their story off with somebody trying to sneak into a restaurant in some way. And it's just so like, that in and of itself is not a bad thing. I think this rendition of it actually was very successful. But as soon as it started, I was like, have I read this before? Like, is this somebody I know writing this? Like, because I'm just like, I've seen this a million times.
And also getting the tray, putting the dog underneath on the tray.
It was just a little cliche. But
it also
works.
made me think this was going to be more heist-ish.
Yes.
Then like it gives heist vibes out the gate, and that is not the story you're gonna get later. And I thought it was going to be more interplay between like rich people and poor people was going to be a focus. I mean, honestly, you're right. There's
it's window dressing to the story.
There's a lot of things at the start that really don't.
You can tell that's what she wanted from it. Yeah. You could tell that's what she wanted to address in it a little bit more. And then it's like she got caught up in the relationship of the story, but not in a good way. Because I don't think it's overly successful. But yeah, so number one, Lysa becomes very one note. I think she should have learned some of her lessons a little, not quicker. Look, as somebody with deep sea trauma, I know you need a bit of therapy, and that therapy doesn't get suited itself out in like one session or two or three or even five or seven or even 20. But the point is like, as far as a novel goes, I found it irritating the repetition of her inability to move past certain parts of herself without the added benefit of a situation to help her through it, because then it was just a lot of internal monologue without any action and without any learning. Like, you, the reader, have learned the lesson. You know she has learned the lesson, but she is unwilling emotionally and incapable emotionally of accepting that lesson. And I really wish that she would have had physical stimulus in order to help her, because then it would have been more engaging as a reader to watch that happen.
Yeah. I completely agree. I also think, and I'm not sure if this is what you meant, but I found that the development of their friendship happened too quickly. Like, I
That too.
conceptually
Yes.
love their friendship. I love the idea of this kind of
Oh
like
yeah, it's cute as fuck.
pretty, like shopaholic, like a bit of a hoarder guy, who is a bit more of a pacifist. This, like, to use battle axe of a woman, kind of forming this friendship and like learning to trust each other. But unfortunately, like, the majority of the heavy lifting happens in like one section, like this one kind of part of the book, and it's there's just not enough time. And I was about 50% the way through this book, and I went, I don't feel like I'm 50% of the way. Like, I remember looking at it and being like, this is 50% over? Like, what do you mean? I feel like I'm 30% in. Like, I feel like we're just kind of, and so
I
this
think
is
she lingered on the wrong things, especially when it comes to the internal strife that Lysa goes through. I think that was too much. I don't think enough of the external world, like you said, with the setting. And I have something else to say about that later
yeah.
in a second. But I don't think she was able to balance that well enough.
I think this book should have been like 2 hours longer. Like, I think it needed some more, because the core of the book is the friendship. I think the friendship needed a bit more,
And it
like,
needed more
time in
to
the
it.
oven. Yeah,
There
it
was
needed.
there was not enough of the situations involved, and there was not enough discussion. Okay, so this is a good time to mention my second grief with this. Alderic is too altruistic.
Mhm.
While I understand that, big spoiler right now, get ready. He is 300 years old, or thereabouts. He's very old. It makes a lot of sense that he would have dealt with emotions and know how to process them to certain degrees, but making him a perfect goody two shoes therapist for her does not equate to an interesting relationship. And unfortunately, I actually didn't really love how, because he's not emotionally healthy. He's battling with things, but I don't like the portrayal of it. I think it's very unbalanced. I think he's a little, no, I don't want to say too nice, because we've met many characters that are very, very nice and I still like them. It's not the niceness, it's the portrayal of it.
For me, something, and somebody else mentioned this, there was a little too much like the benefit of being rich
Mm-hmm.
can like it's much easier to be altruistic, giving, and like, and the thing is, that's obviously not the case. We see the majority, I would say, of people who have a lot of money, aren't as altruistic as they should be. And then a lot of people with less are more so. But like, there is like the privilege of being rich that allows you to be as giving as he is. And there's a point where she was like, wow, money is a great way to solve problems. And I'm like, there are other ways. Let's not
So,
glorify money too much.
a really big thing throughout the novel is that Alderic is, which I never thought they could fit that name in there, because that is, I'm pretty sure, his original name in Beauty and the Beast. And I thought it was the stupidest sounding name originally, and I was like, wow, they made it work somehow here, which is crazy to me. But Alderic is, the problem is this: he is a little. I don't want to call him perfect. because he's not, because he has a drinking problem and he has a lot of self-hatred and he has tendencies that want to self-harm,
And he's
for
also
understanding
hiding
reasons.
very, very big, like a very big
Yes,
crucial thing.
yes, but the thing is this: his portrayal is too uninteresting for that. It's not nuanced and I mean, to do your first novel for a character that's 300 years old, that's a very hard concept because you have to consider what, like, if you're going to write it well, you have to ask yourself, where's their emotion, where's their emotionality going to be? Like, how are they going to be emotionally? Some people into infinity become insane and become awkward and strange and like, you know, just weird. It's because they have little idiosyncrasies that have become, and especially because he lives by himself, he should have been weirder,
He should have
in
been
my
weirder.
opinion.
I
Number
wanted
two,
him. Oh, continue. Go, 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 go.
all I wanted to say as was, and number two, like what Maria said with the money thing, that actually creates a character flaw that I feel like realistically could have added more meat to him. She said he's also this problem with money. That's true. He does very easily. He has like an unending amount of all money. That in and of itself, I don't think is a flaw in the book, but the way it's used is poorly used. Because number one, his access to those funds, like, we should have discussed that because, like, he only has what's on him. And to make it a little bit more realistic, he's like, I have to go back to Bleakhaven, which is where he's from, or wherever it is, his coffers. Like, where's his bank? How does he do the banking? Like, is it all just in a treasury? But the point is if you added that, you would have added a little bit more to how he lives and made him more of a real character and made his problems more real. And then the second part to that is that, so he thinks he can solve things with talking and money, but you can't solve everything with talking and money. And the problem is the book frames it that you can.
Yeah. And
And
it does vilify the need for violence.
and I don't like that.
Yeah.
Because I'm sorry, our main character does have a good point. Sometimes you need to throw a punch.
Yep.
And I don't think I could ever do it myself, but I'm not that kind of person. And so there's a flaw in me that I can't
Virgin
stand up
punch
for
hands.
myself. Yeah. Yeah. So I would have liked well, and who cares what's right or wrong? I still would have preferred a character, whether their viewpoints were right or wrong, to be brought up in this fullness. So that way it was more dynamic and, again, like I said, more nuanced. Anyway, go ahead.
I liked, so originally when I read him, and because again, I was listening to my audiobook and I was cooking, and I didn't fully catch the description of him because she meets him at a bar initially,
Yeah.
and she isn't sure it's him, and I thought he was old. Like, I thought he was a weird old man. And so, like, just imagine the scene where he's shopping, but imagine like a 70-year-old.
Oh my God.
And so I was like, yes, I love this. And then I was like, oh, he's young, he's handsome. What? I missed that.
He's Alucard.
Yeah.
He's Alucard.
And I don't know who that is.
Oh, okay.
I don't. But it's fine. But
Wait. Wait. Can we just continue talking while I look it up? Continue.
And so, like, I was in my head, it made him like, and Saint Jen just said, I mean, in a way he is a weird old man, but there was just something about, like, this old man being like, yes, I'll take the scarlet pants, and, like, having this fashion show that I just really, like, vibed with. And so I don't want to say I think it would have worked better if he was an old man, but I think it would have worked better if he was older. Like, and the thing is, unfortunately, it doesn't work with his origin story, but it made the portion where I thought he was like this old rich dude who, like, lived alone and, like, was a hoarder made it so much better. Oh, yeah.
He's Alucard.
Yeah.
Like, the whole time he's described as Alucard. That's how Alucard, he has whatever the ascot, it's not an ascot.
Cravat.
Cravat. What a wrong age. I like that fluffy rich boy stuff. Like that, especially from, like, you know, like, noble, huzzah. But you know what irritates me is that I'm not sure, but I think, but before I did the book, I saw a special edition book that somebody had purchased, and it came with artwork. And in the artwork, it had him with a not a cutlass, a what's it called?
Rapier.
Rapier. Thank you. It had him with a rapier, and he looked like Alucard with his little like long sword thing. And I was like, oh, I really love aesthetically the dichotomy, the juxtaposition between him full like white noblesse, like rapier, like that's his style of fighting, is like gentlemanly, and then her, the butcher, which is her name, just doing fucka any weapon that she can get her hands on, like tawny, like being out in the elements, scarred. And I really liked that juxtaposition. She, the author, does not fully squeeze all that's worth.
Yeah, I would definitely say there's some juice left on that. We didn't get all we could out of it. And so yeah, there's definitely some problems here, like, but there were moments. So it's someone said this is a book you don't need to turn your brain on to read, partially because the author is going to tell you everything that is like, again, there's a perfectly good scene of friendship developing, and then the author's like,
friendship was developing.
She felt a pang of emotion. What was that? Like, I don't need that. I can see it. I got the inference skills. They're right here, baby. And there's that. The friendship isn't developed long enough. There's a bit of where the book is like, morally, he's definitely better than she is, and like,
and that irritates me.
Yeah, and I wouldn't mind if it felt more even, because there's this point where she was like, we're basically the same later on. That helps her get over some shit, but it kind of felt a little bit one-sided, like towards her, and I would have liked it if it was a little bit more even, and like if he had to do, like, to protect someone, he had to like do something.
I would have massively preferred that he turned into the, obviously spoilers, that he turned into the beast at a time prior to that last moment. As somebody said in the chat, I forget who it was, oh yeah, it was Pierre Casey Parks? I don't know. But it was like, for such a massive character that they keep like chasing after, which is actually okay to me. Honestly, that's okay. But I think that you could have done some cool stuff with it.
I wish we would have gotten more flashbacks, more descriptions of people describing what it looked like. Like, I wasn't really sure what this thing looked like.
I wasn't sure either.
Book. And I was like, I just want, like, tell me what happened. That, like, it takes so long to figure out how her brother Eddie was killed by the beast, and like what that actually, how that played out, and all of that, to give you kind of like that emotional punch. And I do like the scene in which it's displayed, but again, it just like, there's just moments that are just missing out of this to kind of bring it home.
Maria said that earlier that she wasn't sure where she was with the setting because of the description lack. That's the problem. I think the biggest thing this author, if I were to say anything, if this author ever comes across this and they're like, oh, I wonder how I maybe can improve, how did my readers think? One thing I would say you could improve on is you need to work on descriptions. You need to work on, and not just like, because you described like the forge a little bit okay. Like, I knew what it smelled like and I knew the general vibe, but like, I don't actually know how it's laid out. And the thing is, you might say, does this matter? And I thought to myself earlier in the book, does it matter? Like, I like the pacing. I like how quick it is because it keeps my attention. But and yes, it does. I think, and this, real quick, I just want to like real quick, if that's okay with you. Yeah, I'm just going to summarize like a couple other points. One, this goes into that. The fight scenes are very poor. It's a summary, and honestly, I think she does a very good job with summarizing the fight scenes, considering I felt like she knew she couldn't write a fight scene because she doesn't even try. She just summarizes what happens, and if you don't know how to, fair enough, good job, that's great. But with what kind of book this was,
yeah,
it's really hard to miss out on that without it feeling like a loss, because she's a warrior and I'm missing out on a huge, like, her whole personality.
You gave us a warrior, you know, like, it's not like this is a Belle kind of, and we never have to have a fight scene.
That's the problem. So I like the way you did it. She did it, the author. I like the way she did it. I think she did it competently, considering it felt like she didn't know how to do it. However, that being said, that is what's missing, especially from such a character. Real quick, I do like the cuts between scenes. I think they were well done. I hate that we know he's the beast for basically the whole book. And she doesn't.
I didn't. Again, because I didn't know it was a Beauty and the Beast story. I thought they were just going to go kill a random beast. It wasn't until I was like, is he an elf? Almost immediately, I was like, I think this guy's an elf and she's going to hate him because he's an elf. But he's an elf that wants to kill the beast for some reason. And so it took me until like after we found out he was immortal and he was like, yeah, I have a curse on me. Once he mentioned the curse, I was like, oh, this kid's
Oh
the
my
fucking
God.
beast.
They
But it
said
took
the word
until then.
provincial. They said the phrase tale as old as time. They said, I like talking to things rather than people. I was like, oh my God, look at all these breadcrumbs. She's not a whip. And oh
Not
my
enough.
God, fuck all.
Now
But
I will say a couple other people also Park Z said my reaction to the cover before I finished it was like, the beast is really prominent on here not to be a character. Did not make the B&B connection until I read the reviews. So like I don't think it's as obvious.
well, okay, I thought it said on the front cover, but maybe it
I
had
didn't
actually.
ever read the front cover.
I don't know if it's on the front cover or it could have been on the bookstore's like little tagline where it said a Beauty and the Beast retelling.
Let me go check.
I'm not sure.
Full of revenge monsters and found family. I devoured this book. And now looking at the head of the beast, yeah, that makes sense. But
No, it must have. You know where I must have gotten it. You know what? I wonder how I would have taken this if I didn't know that. Because I went in knowing it. That's why I wanted. That's why I wanted to do the book because it was a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and Maria and I were obsessed with Beauty and the Beast growing up.
Yes.
But okay, so real quick,
it says Witcher meets Howl's Castle.
I disagree absolutely. With that, I guess I see what they mean, but I wouldn't say that. Another thing, I don't like Brandy the dog. Not because I don't love dogs, and not because I don't love Brandy the character, but because number one,
why does he speak English?
The dog seems more like a literary tool to get things done in a certain way, especially in one scene in particular. And number two, as somebody in the chat literally said that Alderic is like Bamblebee, it reminded me a ton of Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia Fairy with the dog, especially with the same problem with the dog, which is that going to fairy and blah, 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 extremely long-lived dog. It's coming at the end of its years. You keep bringing it on your adventures. The dog's, I was like, I'm tired of this trope. I don't care about it. It takes too long with emotions. Oh, yeah, that was another thing. I thought it took too long with emotions, but also at the same time, we didn't have enough events to build the emotions.
Yep.
I wanted Alderic to fight.
Yep.
I wanted him to fight.
I waited the whole book to see this guy. Ha ha! You know, he didn't even have to kill anyone. Do a Rurouni Kenshin, my guy. Knock people out. But I wanted to see, because we never actually see him take shit down.
And he's apparently the best fighter in the land back from 300 years ago.
I was like, Tourney Knight, go do the like even if you're not a great one, can you just do like the way she finds out that he can actually fight is not by like seeing him and going, oh wow, that was misjudged that. It's like they have a conversation and she was like, you can fight. He was like, yeah, I never said I was a bad Tourney Knight. And it just like the whole time I was just waiting because again, you're given this thing of
it gives you the setup. That's the problem.
Yes,
the problem is she gave you the setup, but there was no payoff.
Yeah, because there's literally a scene where she's like, "Punch me! I need to know you can take care of yourself." And he actually throws, and not just a punch. He uses the bottom of his hand to get her in the chin and knocks her head back, and it like and then he swipes her legs out from underneath her. So I was like, "Oh, this guy." So I'm like the entire time because she didn't put it together. She wasn't like, oh wow, this guy he must have some self-defense, you know. Lisa's kind of dumb. I'm gonna just say that. She's kind of dumb.
This brings me into one thing. So one thing that irritated the heck out of me is there's this one scene that Maria just described. Somebody outside is playing the recorder, and it's like bo 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 bo, and it sounds like it. Anyway, during this scene where she's testing him, the thing is number one, Alderic is 300 years old. What does he look like exactly? How old does he look? She
Yeah,
judges him based.
we
She
never
judges
get
him.
like, is he
Yeah.
20? Is he
No, we
30?
have no idea. I think he should personally, I think he should look like he's like 22 because then it takes away, or something young, like super young, because it takes away. And also, he was the younger brother, so it makes sense with the timeline and everything. Or at least like 24, 25, something like that. If he was older, that's fine. I don't actually care. But like, I could see that. That works. Pretty boy, blah, 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 whatever. Youth, young. Then she has misgivings because of how young he looks. But that's the problem. She doesn't have misgivings because of his physical appearance. It's what he's dressed with. And
Yeah.
he's dressed with like daisies and stuff. But as she should know, or
Don't
she
judge
should
a
very quickly learn, very, very, very quickly, to the point where it gets rectified in a page or a paragraph, people might not look the way they like. She is not feminine. And she is like, so he looks feminine. That doesn't mean he has to be feminine. So, like, or like effeminate, or like, if anything,
Or that
flowers.
he can't also be a boss. Like,
Yes, flowers do not equal weakness. Just because you like stitching. So I just think it's really strange, especially with how much of the world she's discovered and how many people. Wait, hold on a second. That's another issue. She has dealt with a lot of different people, killing all these monsters. She seems really dumb with people, considering, and maybe she is pretty dumb, but I just feel like that should be quickly, like, some of these misgivings are
the
dumb.
book should acknowledge if she's slow, like, and that's not the vibe we're
Yes.
given, uh, at all. No, I think you're completely correct, Katie. I do want to just say that really quick, because this is one of those cases where, like, I didn't actually hate the book or anything, and I actually
No, me
enjoyed
either.
reading it
Me
compared
too.
to a lot of the other stuff I did. But it's one of those where, despite enjoying parts of it and not thinking it's a terrible book, I'm mainly going to talk about the things that were wrong with it because it felt like missed potential for me.
Yeah.
But I would say, like, if I would say this is like a 3 out of 5, like, it's as a
Yeah.
debut.
Oh, she not. I wouldn't say she knocked it out of the park as a debut, but she's definitely a head above everybody else.
Yeah, like,
that we read.
When I think about this compared to Maggie Stiefvater's Shiver.
Oh well, I didn't read that, so I can't
Oh,
say.
Katie, just watch the video with me and Val. Katie, you will die. I felt like the world was gaslighting me. I did not believe it was the same author. When I tell you, you're like, are you sure this is by Maggie Stiefvater? Like, the fuck? Katie, wild, insane. You read the book, watch it, even read the first 3 chapters, you will literally die. It is hysterically bad. But anyway, so it's not that, and so there is, like, and I see potential here, and I also like that this was, sometimes fairy tale retellings have to, like, solve
Reset.
all the problems.
Yeah.
Like that we have to make it feminist. We have to, like, take out the problematic things, and they just, like, this didn't feel like trapped by the
Trappings
tropes.
that gives.
Exactly. It felt like she kind of was like, I want to tell this story and then have, like, the Beauty and the Beast is a side of it, is part of it, but in a very different way. And she didn't feel like it, because, again, for the first half, I didn't even know that that's what I was
Oh my
reading.
god, she left so many little, very, very subtle clues. Like, literally, she says at one point, "That's a very provincial song," and I'm like, she used the word provincial on purpose because at that point, that was like the 5th hint she dropped, because she was also like, Alderic was like I said, he was like, "I like collecting things and talking to things, not people." And then I was just like, oh, you mean like the beast only talks to his servants because they're made out of objects now because they're all cursed? That makes sense. And then the woods too, the same way. And like
Because I didn't know this was something to look for, I didn't pick up on
she
any
has
of
so
this
many
shit.
little, like, and it's actually funny when it happens because it fits right in to what's happening, and it has
I don't
nothing to
know
do
this.
with an illusion. It just is an illusion in and of itself, and I'm just like, yeah, that's
I mean,
a good way of squeezing that in there,
Yeah.
honestly.
in retrospect, I see it. But
Yes.
at the time, I was like, look at this witch in the woods and this whole like other like there and I
And the
mean
good fairy, the fairy girl, that a woman that gets spited or whatever by him and everything. I'm glad he had sex with her though at this time
yeah.
instead of just her like showing up to the
Yeah.
party like as an old
Once
hag.
that happened, once he was like, I scorned a fairy woman, I was like, I see what we're doing. I
um,
got it.
I also think the fairy stuff in this world is very it's a leek
Like,
soup with one leek.
yeah,
Like
it
it
is.
is not.
It is. There's not enough other fairy creatures. They don't feel like, and
It doesn't feel real.
yeah, and it feels like it kind of feels like when people say because like I some people might argue well they're being hunted down and they're on the fringes of society so they're kind of disappearing and it kind of makes me think of like the myth of the vanishing Native Americans like
Yeah.
and the Native Americans are like we're not vanished
We're still here.
we're just
Well, no,
things
but
look
that
different.
but that doesn't work either, though. Remember, there are factions that support the Fae.
Yeah.
And so it's still alive and roaring. The only scene we ever get with another fairy really is with mermaids, and I wouldn't consider them Fae, but I guess they are Fae.
They are. They wouldn't be considered.
And I thought once we got introduced, because the thing is it's like right before the scene, she's like, something moved into these woods that were near, something foul.
I
That
thought we
never
were
comes to fruition.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be something else as well.
Yeah, no, nothing. There should have been a fight. Alderic should have turned into a beast. It shouldn't be, and it doesn't make sense. I don't like the rules because some hounds like change by certain things. Alderic changes by like the seasons or something, which I find to be dumb. Because why? Why is it the seasons? It has nothing to do with the curse. Instead, what it should have to do with is anytime he gets, oh my god, could you imagine?
If it was a Hulk situation.
Yeah, but could you imagine? Which really is what it should have been. Because that's the way it was for the other characters that we get told about when it comes to her emotions. And real quick, what if it actually... Wait a second.
Oh, Katie, put that away.
No.
Hey, I know exactly what you're thinking.
What if he was a horny mofo? And what if every time he started getting aroused? No, could you imagine? That would be a good curse. Because then anytime he wants to have the sex, he just suddenly like and then kills them. And then he kills the person that he thought he might have loved or was attracted to. That's a real curse.
Listen, absolutely. But like I didn't mind too much that he changed with the seasons because there were the other hounds that never turned back into humans. Like so there was enough inconsistencies baked in like Fae or ephemeral. Like
I get it. Look, it's fine. It's acceptable.
I was like, that's fine. Again, I wish there was a little bit more like maybe this happened on an equinox, like or this Fae like came to the human world on equinoxes, and she's like, I want to when I'm here, I want to see you suffer, and like that's what it was.
But that would make more sense.
Yeah, and so I will say the reasoning behind the seasons thing could have used a little more baking, but that in and of itself
agrees with me. That would be a more fitting curse for him. Yeah, I agree because he was lustful.
Fucking funny, but we don't know if it was his lust that hurt her, or if he was just a dick. Like maybe it wasn't him sleeping with other women.
Yes, that is. But you know what the problem is? We don't know. That's the problem. It was not explored, and we should have had that explored. If that was like a key linchpin piece.
I will say I wish we got more to why this dude got cursed outside of he broke a heart. Not that heartbreak isn't enough to curse someone over, but like did you like ghost her? Did you pretend
you slap her? Maybe he was really gross before and he like would just hit people. Like pettily.
Yeah, was it like did you insult her because you thought she was from a lower family and you were like, you're good to fuck, but I can't take you in public, bro. Like what was it? What was because there's a lot of different transgressions that are involved with breaking somebody's heart. You can break someone's heart. Did you look at her one day and be like, did you gain weight? Like there's so many.
Did he slap her on the butt one day and been like, yeah, nah, you're just a good piece of it? Like what was it? Wait, I mean, he did say he tried betting every woman in the castle. The implication was that he cheated. Yeah, that's what I assumed as well. Yeah. So if that's the case, again, lustful. Every time it gets a little awakened, we just get something else awakened.
Would would castrating himself fix that, or would a mental stimulation and mental turned onness also count for the curse?
He would have castrated himself then. Wait. Let's just explore this for a
Oh,
second.
well, that's my point.
But it would have healed and come back.
Oh, yes. You're right.
So he could have castrated himself, so it wouldn't matter. And that's part of the curse, is that no matter what, he can't lose it.
His dick has a lot of scars.
Oh, no!
Ribbed for her pleasure.
Oh, my God, Maria, I need to walk for a second. Stop it.
Oh my God, I'm very funny. I'm sorry,
right.
Parsley. I'm sorry.
All right, give me a second. That was too far and away from me. That's great because it was stellar. Like, oh my God, my hair's frizzing.
Oh.
Bro, that's not right. That's not right. Look, I would not mind that version of Alderic.
Parksy's facepalm gets me. I'm just like, I'm sorry, guys. It was there.
I can't believe you went that far, even though it's so true and so good.
He has scars everywhere. He doesn't just heal with no evidence.
But wait. But maybe he just tried the tip first. Like, I don't know. Like,
no, he would have definitely gone base, and so he's just got a real like thick set of scar tissue. I don't even know how it would work with regrowing. Like, where would the scar go? Who knows? I don't know. This is a wild thing to process.
Anyway,
we're an hour in. I think we should start the plot.
Oh shit!
I know, right?
Well, we can definitely do a summary of it in an hour.
It's not too bad. So the book starts. Our girl Lysa is like,
which I don't like that name for her, by the way. I don't know why. I just don't like her name.
Yeah. I didn't mind it. It was a little odd at first, and then I kind of got used to it. But I would have liked. I liked Carnifax as a last name, and I liked when she was referred as that because I liked the that
sound of it and everything.
So yeah, Lysa is the butcher. She is a fae killer, and she's done some cool things. And she just killed a troll and hasn't been paid what she was owed. So she's here to cause shit. She comes in with like the troll's head in a bag, and she busts into this restaurant that is owned by the guy who hired her to kill the troll. She ends up meeting a guy she knew when she was younger, which sets up, number one, her brother Eddie is dead. This guy used to run. They were part of a child gang together
because they were part of a workhouse. And we'll get into why later. But they were in a workhouse. They decided to escape and instead become like a child gang, and that's how they know each other. Another thing also, I just want to set the scene real quick. We're in a world where industrialization is basically happening. They just went from gas lamps to electric lights in the big cities, and there's actually another theme that the author sets up and never explores whatsoever, even though it seemed incredibly important at the beginning, which is the person that she's hunting down in this restaurant that owes her the money is a big industrialist, and he basically is like building bridges, he's building buildings, he's developing. And he's supposed to be like a monopoly man, like a money hungry like man of the black business suit. And he there's this really big theme at the beginning, especially with Lysa specifically, that there are these very rich people that are jumping into the future, especially when it comes to technology and development, but not regarding the past or respecting the present.
Oh God, you're so right. This isn't followed up at all.
No, it's not. And the thing is it directly correlates with Alderic's 300-year-old, like, he's part of a past nobility. What is the future? What is the present? And she never develops it whatsoever. Here, Maria, continue with the plot summary. I'm just going to go grab some more water and also a soda. I'll be right there.
You're good. I'm going to use this moment to have a drink. I'm sorry, Will, if you have to, I just thought about, you might have to like mute out some of what I said earlier. But yeah, I think it's far enough into the video that you'll be fine. But anyway, back to the plot summary. So yeah, she's like, I'm gonna get my money, and she knows one of the women who works in this restaurant, who's like, feels like she's one of like the head wait staff kind of vibes there. And she comes in and she's like, yo, oh yeah, there's a guy that she used to know, so it sets up some of her backstory and some things we need to know for her. She hasn't thought about it, like she hasn't spoken to someone who knew Eddie in a while, but she's got the troll head, and you realize she's gonna go confront this guy in his swanky ass restaurant. I think it's called like the Kingmaker. And you're like, wow, he must owe her a lot of money. And she's like a very gruff looking personality. So the lady helps her. They get a cart. The dog, her big old mastiff, gets on the cart. And they cover him with a tablecloth. They put the troll's head on one of those silver serving platters that has the cloche on it. They cover it. She rolls it in, pretending to be, and then like the owner's like, "Who the fuck are you? And what is that smell? Like that shit smells rank. That is nasty as all get out." And she's like, haha, I'm the butcher, you didn't pay me what I was owed. And he was like, go to my office, why are you here? And she was like, I went to your office, they said they couldn't authorize the amount besides the amount you said they could do, and so I had to come find you. And he was like, they told you where I was? And she was like, I mean, they didn't tell me. I had to force it out of them, because she doesn't want to get his workers in trouble, because they're just doing their job. And so then she's like, here's what they paid me, and here's what the advert said. And he goes, it's 1 shilling. It's a shilling off. And I'm like, a shilling? We did all of this for I would have gone back to the office at a point where, like, let me know the next time he's in the office. I don't know. This felt a bit absurd, but it's supposed to be, the book's like, but for Lysa, a shilling back when she was a young street pauper with her brother was like 3 meals, or the difference between a night on the streets or a night in a bed. And so like a shilling meant a lot to her, and she's going to make sure she gets everything she's owed, because she takes a lot of money from these rich pricks so that she can help poor people who can't pay. And so it's actually philanthropy for and it is, but like the shilling is, like, it's a wild scene. And Katie was right when she said it sets up a lot of like the kind of butting of the heads of like the different classes. The one is kind of moving into the future, the other one is kind of still stuck in the past,
which works with the idea of the Fae versus what she's doing, which is destroying the Fae to build. She's actually an industrialist in her own right? Yes. But in her own way. I would have liked that when she has the realization later that she's the beast herself, that she's also the industrialist herself. And that it's not about money, it's about what you do with it.
Yep.
And then that's like where she she really like gains a certain level of maturity.
Yeah.
And however, also, how old is she?
How old was she when Eddie died, which was 13 years ago? I think she was like 11.
So that
she's
makes
like
her
24?
like 20 something. So she's allowed to have those misgivings. And I mean, look, people into their elderly years have lack of emotional maturity. So that's totally fine. But like, it really works for her in particular with her experiences if she's really young and she's just full of hatred thing and full of anger and wanting to like destroy things. I like that about her. It's because, first of all, it's usually a male trope. And second of all, it makes sense. So, like, it makes total sense. I just, like, it's weird that specifically, especially considering how the author emphasizes it at the beginning, in her introductory scene to her entire world, and it, like, fills a lot of the first couple of chapters, because she describes the lamps. She describes
this
the
is,
change.
like, one of the best described scenes in the book. C Prime AU? C Prima? I don't know.
Supremu!
Said, this is my biggest issue with the book. There is this fascinating theme of industrial world mindset versus old world ways of the fan nobility, and it never does anything with it. It's like Swift accidentally stumbled on a banger of a scene and just walked right past it, and then they continue. Great stuff. For me, the opening is truly the worst scene of the book. It feels like the wrong setup for a different kind of story.
Agreed.
And it does. It really, like, this scene does not feel like the opening for this book. Like, I mean, I think...
Go ahead.
I think it would have almost worked better for to her because she killed the troll like 2 weeks ago and has been trying to get
Are you
this
going
like
to say the
one
same thing
shilling.
I'm going to say? Keep going.
I would have rather it been like right after she killed the troll and she's originally just taking like and it wasn't like not that she didn't get paid not a shilling, but she goes to get the money and then like you learn about her through that and then she's like, okay, where's my next job? Like and so we just skipped this whole thing entirely. What were you gonna say?
I was going to say basically the same thing. I was going to say I would have preferred her fighting a creature at the beginning or
Yeah.
something. In this case, if it's the troll, whatever that works. And then going, slugging it around, the responses she has. We even could have had, there's apparently this sect of fairy lovers, children of the something or whatever. And see, it's like, it's stuff like that where it like gives a name to something, but then it doesn't matter. I'm like, then why did you give it a name?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? But anyway, like she could have gotten the eggs thrown because later on this comes up.
Yeah,
These kids really hate her.
I would have loved if that happened here
Here, yeah, and then so
as
she
she's
walks
taking
in
the
with
troll.
eggs all over her, and she's like, and then you have that whole thing with like, who are you, you tramp, like coming into here with your stinky stuff and your egg covered self, and then like go through all of that, and then you could have had the same kind of interactions in classism. But then like it would have been even funnier as a callback later on if as they're walking, they're like, oh no. And then like it gets brought up and you don't know at the beginning why they're throwing eggs at her.
Yeah.
But then later on it comes up and it's like, yeah, they hate her because she kills things.
That's so much funnier, and also because she killed that like specific thing. Like that's so
The
much funnier
dryad.
as like yeah, that's so much funnier as a setup to the whole thing. And also, and I just think we could have skipped the whole like, um, Ocean's 11 or whatever it
Yeah,
is
whatever the whole like dining room scene is. I just
scene
don't
is.
like dining room scenes.
And also just like it does feel like the setup for something completely different, and I think starting at the end of a fight scene, her going to collect payment, and then you learn that like she charges them a lot so that she can support other people, have the interactions, and also see that like for the most part people respect her within her job, and like
Yes.
that she's treated fairly normally. Like I said before, there's very little points where she walks into a place and people are like
Oh,
Liza,
it's the
why
person
aren't
who
you
protected us.
yeah, and but also like there's a lot of like there's this point where she goes to get her mail and they're like they like her, they know her. The only reaction they have is she has a troll coat that smells really bad and they're like, Liza, you can't bring that in here. So it helped make me feel like she is an established person that even though she doesn't and at first I thought maybe there just isn't the same set of uh expectations on women being feminine in this world as there would be in ours.
It
And then
is a
later
made
it's
up
like,
world.
yeah, and then later it's like, no, we still have that, but for rich people, not poor people. Which is just like, because again, so many people weren't like, Lysa, you should be more lady. Like nobody ever tells Lysa she should be lady. Like there's one point where someone's like, we have a dress code, you can't be wearing that stinky clothing, but like that's it. And so,
And
but
it
then
works really well for the most part here, but the thing is then there's that weird like issue of why do people look down their nose at her. You know what I would have preferred is if the emphasis was more on that difference between whether or not these industrialists versus old nobility in the rich sector, new money versus old money. The new money likes her because she gets the job done. She
They
kills
don't
the
give,
things and they make
they don't
progress. But
care.
the old nobility doesn't like her. It's because they don't like the progress and they don't like the killing of the old gods or whatever the heck.
And that her lack of the what they still hang on to of the feminine ideal.
Yes, and instead she's more of the modern ideal, and so the more modern people are like, yeah, and also
Oh
I
my
would have
God.
preferred a lot more people to be like you were starting to say before, hey Lysa, like because she literally has protected villages, but we see a lot of hatred aimed at her because of the way she's dressed or the way she walks around or for what she's done. So we see that side of things, but we don't see the other side, and I really feel like that's strange. It's because
Yeah.
it's told to us she has built up a name for herself and she's gone all over the place to do this. So therefore, people should know her by appearance alone, especially her braids, which and her tattoos specifically, or just a big muscular woman with a sword or weapons on her with a gun, or her also her blades are unique. She is a weaponsmith,
blacksmith, yeah.
so she should stand out, especially when it comes to other people in that, like, what, like, I don't know why she's not known by name or vision alone. Like,
Yeah.
it would have been more interesting that way.
No, I completely agree. So yeah, after to continue with the plot,
Oh yeah.
after that scene, she's like, okay, I'm gonna go, and she goes back to
Real quick, she's a good person because she pays off the staff that helped her, and she throws a little extra money at Dickie, her old friend.
yeah,
She goes, she checks her mail. She has a million letters from this guy named Alderic,
De
and from Bleak
Laurent, and
Haven.
she's like, what a rich
Rich
asshole name.
person's name, yeah. And then she's got letters from her father as well. And then what we learn, it's because they're like, wait, we have more letters for you, and they bring out a whole thing of it, and she's like, and then they're like, well, that's what happens, because she was worried that it might be from something. I don't remember exactly what at the time. And then they were like, well, that's what happens when you come and pick up your mail once a year. And she's like, oh. And then this is where it's introduced to you that when she goes to wherever her home is, time passes differently, because she specifically says it. And that when she comes back into the mortal realm, that time has passed much more quickly. And so therefore, and that's like also a thing with the dog too, Brandy. So her dog's like with her all this time. It does nothing to help the plot, by the way. It's only a gimmick, in my opinion. And I don't mind a dog gimmick. I love dog gimmicks. I don't care. I like
Mm-hmm.
dogs. But it's a gimmick. And so anyway, you know, like that's when, you know, like Brandy's like, because they're like, oh, how old is Brandy now? 15. My God, dog's doing well. Don't.
That's a giant dog for 50. Like, surprising he's so alive at 15 for how big he is.
Yeah, and so because somebody literally says, "Don't their hearts like?" And she's like, "Yeah, well," and then it's because she's going to fairyland, and that's where he gets like, I guess, youthful or whatever, or
Yeah.
time is halted, I suppose. So then Maria, go ahead and continue.
Yeah. So she goes to where she lives, which is this the liminal space Katie's talking about. It's like a barrier world between fairy and the human world. It's called the woods of something, and there lives a witch named Ragland, that they call Rags, and she has her witch apprentice named Nadia, and our girl is Lysa, is her blacksmith, and Rags and her work together to kill hounds and to find different hounds and kill them. Hounds are very hard to kill. They're these creatures made by Fae that have like a sigil on
A
them,
glyph.
that a glyph that holds the details of their curse, and depending on what the what is involved in the glyph, that's how you can undo it.
And the way
And
it kind of is described, real quick, if that's okay.
mhm.
Um, the way it's described, it kind of reminds me a lot of like, I feel like there was a cartoon that I watched. Now, the first thing that's coming to mind is Fern Gully, even though that's not right. But I feel like I've watched a cartoon or something where
Oh my
there.
god. Continue. Sorry. Chris M just brought up a great thing, and I didn't even. Holy shit.
Wait.
Yeah.
Real quick, yeah. Let's go ahead. Let's do it. Go.
I just realized that I'm not sure the book. So this is Chris M. I just realized that I'm not sure the book addressed how much older her childhood friends should have been due to the time difference.
Yeah, that's true.
Yo. Anyway, continue. You were saying you a childhood cartoon, Fern Gully.
So there you go. Another lost little facet that would make it more interesting. But anyway,
and believable, grounded in
yes,
the world.
yeah. I feel like I've watched something where there were like, I mean, I guess you could even think of Castlevania, the animated series, like where they bring back the dead, and they bring back the dead for one purpose and one purpose only, to kill. It's I forget what the Beast Makers or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah.
But the point is like I think I've seen this like idea before where something, and that's the vibe that you get at the beginning, is that these hounds, these creatures, are created from hatred or anger or some type of negativity that the Fae wish to impart upon mortals, and by using that, yes, yes,
Oh my
yes.
god. Let me
Yo.
tell you, the chat's on fire today, guys.
Yeah,
See,
and that could have
Franco,
been tied to the theme of being trapped in your I was okay.
Yes.
So I actually started thinking about that too.
the
I was like,
the full comment, yo, and that could have tied into the theme of being trapped in your trauma, given that she can't physically age despite the like people around her are aging. Oh,
damn it, Swift, you had another gem.
Again, she like stumbles upon bangers of themes, and then we just walk away. Like That's crazy.
That's actually a really good point.
Yeah.
So
Fuck
anyway,
them.
the point is these monster things are meant to destroy humanity in some way. And the glyph is like the thing that the thing that holds it all, the key that holds it all together in magic.
And you have to do kind of like the opposite emotion
Oh
in
my
your
god, I'm
work.
so dead. Stop.
I
Wait, hold on a
know.
second. I
Let me
gotta
tell
process
you,
that.
for the 7 people, like the chat's on fire today. Join our Patreon. It's a good time. You can be here.
You.
You could be with us right now
I didn't
doing
want to.
doing.
Yeah,
What were you gonna say?
nothing.
Okay.
I really do need to keep it to
Yeah, you do. Okay.
but whatever. But just know that you should join,
You should
and
join.
that you would be welcomed.
And privy to things that get cut for YouTube. That like a chunk, some part of this video might get cut for YouTube. It also reminds me of the Sword Heart video we did, where like some people will never understand the chaos of that video, and the
I don't even understand the chaos of the video because I have no memory of it.
you said something about I'm gonna text it to you. It was
Okay.
oh
You
my
know what
god.
still gets me? Wait, real quick, just pause. You know what still gets me about Sword Heart is the whole pea in the jar. Like
Yep.
that whole scenario was so dumb. And you know, I was telling Will, I was re-listening to Sword Heart, and the beginning when they first meet each other is so weird. The pacing is weirdly slow, and I remember thinking it at the time.
Look at
It's
your phone.
very slow. And they,
so
they
weird.
talk very awkwardly, and I know it's awkward, but it lasts way too long. And that's the same thing with the pea in the jar thing. The pea in the jar thing was like bizarre.
Yeah, you said that. And people who weren't, I can't say it because Will's gonna have to cut it, and it's a whole thing. But when you're in the live streams,
I can't believe I said that.
I can't believe you said that.
I'm so much more
Demure.
I guess that's the word for it. But
Oh my god.
I mean, look, it wasn't a lie.
No, it's
It's
not.
delicious.
Oh god. Join our Patreon and then you can find out weird things that we say during live streams that Will has to cut for
God.
the sake of the thing. But anyway, do that. It's a good time.
Morning, Miss Sally
Continuing.
Snow.
Continuing, so her and Raglan work to deal with the glyphs and get rid of the hounds, and then she's like, I gotta find this guy that wants to hire me because he's sounding real desperate all of a sudden.
And the big thing is though, is he mentions that he noticed that she's killed this other hound and it made it in the papers. And he's like, I'm very impressed by this. I would really like to hire you. You seem like you know what you're doing. And the second one, after like months of her not responding, was like, you know, and it's like a little sassy, and then it continues on. And she's like, okay, so if he was interested in me killing a hound, that might mean that he has found a hound, and whether or not it is the hound I'm looking for that killed my brother, it's still another step forward in my goal. And so I'm gonna go to this place called Bleak Haven, which is where he's asked to meet at his home away from homes, which is a bar. And she goes there. Am I missing anything right now? Can I jump to that far? Okay. So she goes there. She sees that the bar's all boarded up, and she's like, well, so much over is home away from home. And she goes into another bar. She gets into a fight, and her troll hide coat gets destroyed, which she's very upset about. And she goes to this other place, and she's sitting and she notices this guy and she's like, God, like, you know, where did this all Derek guy go? Blah, blah, blah. And she's drinking and Brandy, the dog, keeps growling at somebody. It's the guy next to her down the row. The bar lady is calling him Icicle. And
because he's got really
white hair, blonde hair.
blonde hair.
Yeah, and he's very pale. Again, Alucard. And he's like super drunk and woozy, and
he's in his cups.
Yes. And long story short, she realizes, oh, this is Alderic. Alderic realizes she's she, and they begin speaking, and then she notices that somebody's kind of eavesdropping on them, and it's a guy named Birch. And he's got silver around him, and she realizes, oh wait, and this is where we're introduced to this idea. She's like, oh wait, this kid over here, he's wearing silver, not iron, like most people would, or something like that about that.
Yes, that's
And she
exactly it.
notices his clothes and the color scheme, and that his name is Birch, and he's like really awkward, and he seems to be listening, and he's reacting to things negatively when she talks about her job. And so she's like, ah, he must be a hound. What were they called? Guard, a hound guard or
Yeah,
something,
I think it was Hound Guard.
something like that. And she's like, we have to get out of here. And so they leave and they go into an alleyway and they're talking. And this is where you are introduced to the concept that there are some people that like to protect the hounds, for whatever reason, and they are fairy supporters. And so she wants to get away. It's because she, in the past, has had a lot of run-ins with them, and they always stop her from her work. And there's somebody in particular from her past that we don't get told about yet that has to do with them. And
All we're told is that she was betrayed by the one person she fully let in, and then they betrayed her, and now she doesn't let people in.
yes, and so anyway, they talk, and Alderic kind of explains, oh, it's the beast of, what is it again?
Braxton Hill.
Braxton Hill, blah blah blah. And she's like,
Buxton Hill. I
Buxton
don't
Hill.
remember. Yeah.
And then she's like, oh my gosh, yes, let's go. And so they take his cab. And then there's like this weird thing that never has any fruition too, now that I think about it. She says she hates cabs. It's because she saw an accident so many times. And it doesn't add to her character at all, because it's
I
not.
was expecting there to be an accident, like
Yes.
where the carriage topples over, and she's like,
I told you. Yes.
It's again a thing that the a way that the author characterizes her that doesn't actually feel like
It mattered.
and also doesn't match her. Like, I don't look at her and think, ah, yes, you're scared of getting in a carriage. Like, as
Hound
a character,
wardens. Hound wardens.
There you go.
Thank you, Miss
also,
Allie Snow.
Good morning, Allie. Welcome. And so it's just a weird thing that like doesn't match. But one of the reasons why they go back to his, because they're heading to his house. He's like, I'll take you there, and because she's like, we need a piece. Like, she's talking about
Of the
stuff
beast.
they'll need, and he's like, oh yeah, I have that, and she's like, what? So they go to his house. It is Hoardersville. And
It's Hoardersville. Also note that around it is in a forest filled of giant thorny trees.
Yes.
That's like really nightmarish. And the gate around the place is so high that nothing could possibly jump it, and it's iron tipped. And also, the thing that she's explaining is that, hey, in order to craft, so the reason I was able to kill these hounds before is that I have somebody, she doesn't explain all this exactly, but it's, alluded to. She's like, I make weapons, or I have to create something to defeat them with it. And one of the things I need is a physical item from the beast. And so he's like, yeah, I've got that. And I know where it's at because I've been keeping tabs on it for a long time now. And she's like, oh my gosh.
I followed it to this area. Its lair is in this, and that's why I built that wall. Because if you're gonna be near a beast, you gotta have a giant ass wall outside your. Can't be too careful these days. In retrospect, I'm so upset with myself.
But anyway, so she goes inside and she notices, yeah, like Maria said, it's Hoardersville. Like, there's like a million of any one item. She sees, she doesn't even tell you about it now, but I feel like, again, this is a lost opportunity to actually, if she so wished, to bring in more of that Beauty and the Beast illusion, but to explain, like, or describe more of, like, because you, the reader, don't know this. You only know it later because, like I said, like, tells you, or actually tells Alderic. But like he has like a box or a drawer full of just knobs, like different doorknobs.
A basket of doorknobs.
Yeah, and he just keeps buying pretty things like that he likes. It's because he's trying to fill, like, the hole in his heart and everything. But it would have been better, like, if we had gotten descriptions of all the pattern, like, really, like, if it's a house moving castle, whatever mix, paint the picture.
Give me. I want a better description of what the fuck his fucking home looks like. Give me the detail. Give me the texture. Give me the colors. Like, this guy loves color. Is it painted?
Park Z also said she hated electric lights as well, which is true. She actively said several times she preferred the gas lamps, just because of the vibes and the smell. It was just more like welcoming. And so yeah. Anyway. More of the modern version. So she, even though she's fighting for the modern world, is more of the old world, and that would have been a really cool thing to explore. Anyway, Let's keep going.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Uh,
we see a room. He gets out this claw, this giant claw that belonged to the beast, and she recognizes it, like the color scheme or something. And she's like, oh.
yeah.
And then
She's
all of
like,
a sudden,
yeah,
all these
that's one
hound
of the
wardens
beast
come in,
claws.
including Honey, her ex,
Hon- Honoria. Yeah, I think
Honoria.
that, yeah. It's spelled with an
And
H.
she, as well as the kid Birch, that she rightly guessed was a fairy supporter, is there, and they're there to stop her from killing the beast. And so she's like, "We must escape!" And so they grab the claw. She draws chalk on the wall because the place here is thin. Like there are thin places between the worlds, and she can tell that it's thin because of the vibes, I
The
guess.
vibes.
And they go through, and they immediately fall upon the area, the archway or whatever, where it brings them to the liminal space, the wood, where Nadia is, and she's like, "Oh, Rags is gonna be really upset with you for
Why'd
bringing
you
a
bring a
stranger here."
fucking man here?
Yeah, is the
A
specific word.
stranger. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they go. Rags is pretty upset, but what they then she explains, "Hey, the Hound Wardens were after us. He's the only person who knows where it is." Blah blah blah. And she's like, "Okay, whatever. Here, you take it from here."
Yeah. So then they're like, okay, we're gonna need to do the like we've got his claw, so that we've got the beast's claw, so we can, if we have this and his glyph, we can figure out what we need to kind of break this spell. And Rags is like, I'ma look at the bones and see what the bones say. And they they start like doing a whole thing, and she has to Lysa is not, she hasn't told, so, and I need to give a little bit of context. When Lysa was young, she wanted to go to a circus, and her brother Eddie, who's her older brother, was like, no, we can't go to the circus, we got to save our money. And she was like, no, everybody's having fun, let's go to the circus. And so they go to the circus, and then Eddie, there's a, I'm not going to go into detail now, but Eddie ends up getting killed by the Hound of Braxton Hill, the Beast of Braxton Hill. And so Lysa has personal connection to the beast, to this whole thing. She's seen the glyph with her little eyeballs 13 years ago. And so she's like drawing out the glyph, and he's like, you guys know what the glyph looks like? And she was like, yeah, we have one eyewitness. And so they're like, well, and he was like, well, what if it's not fully correct? And then the Rags is like, well, then it won't work properly. So they get the glyph, they have the thing, and like Rags goes into the bones, and she's like, I think it's revenge, but I don't have enough detail. I don't, it's not good. And they're like, oh, rats, what are we gonna fucking do? And then he's like, well, I didn't want to step in on any toes, guys, but I think that's wrong, and I think I know. And they were like, oh my god, you know what the glyph looks like? And he was like, yeah, I found someone who had seen it, and they drew it for me, so I have like this
No,
picture.
different. He
Oh,
he says, and it's like such a dumb aside too. That's the only reason I remember it. He's like, yeah, at the royal palace, I was given access to their libraries,
oh yeah,
and
because
in the
I'm
library,
rich.
I saw the glyph, and it's like, what?
Yeah,
And then of course, being as dumb as she is, Lysa is just like, of course, the rich people will have access to these things, and not us.
yeah, that's what kept her from being able to solve this crime by
It's so
herself.
dumb.
It was money. Again, setting up the idea of like the upper class, lower class. There's so many like dichotomies that could be explored in this that are like not. And again, he's rich, she's poor. We could have set that up, but anyway. So also, I have to really quick mention that Rags, when she cooks, doesn't use enough salt. Lysa never wants to eat her food, and tries to, despite living with her for 13 years, maintains a distance because of her trauma. Also, Rags gets headaches when she's
I was going
goes
to
to
mention
the
this earlier
smithy.
too.
So
Yeah.
just hold that, keep that in your little noggins.
So she
Anyway,
gets what Maria said. I interrupted. Maria had said that she gets headaches when she goes into the smithy, where all
yeah.
the stuff is.
Yeah. Just keep that in your head. So yeah, so he's like, he has the correct glyph, and then they look at it, and she was like, oh shit, this is revenge, but it's a really personal revenge for a specific thing. To fight this, we're going to need a lot of personal items, that, because there's certain kinds of things you need to create a sword or a weapon for killing a hound, and so the type of weapon is dictated. So in this case, it needs to be something personal, and nothing is more personal than shoving a sword through someone's heart. You know, like an axe is a bit impersonal, something where you have to get up close to do the killing blow kind of thing is the vibe. And so they're like, it's gonna have to be a sword, and then you need like something from the different elements. Like you need
They
dirt,
need they need botanicals. They need something that's important to them, to the heart, and then they need like certain. So, for example,
water.
Yeah. So, for example, in the past, the hounds, how they were destroyed, what Lisa would do is she would go, Lisa would could do is that she would go to places. Basically, they'd have to do enough research to know where the hound was formed from. So, for example, one hound was formed when a waterway, it's very, again, Ferngully vibe. There was a waterway that was polluted by something. And so the Fae created the hound as a curse to go after the people that polluted the river, the humans that lived there. So she needed to get water from that place to destroy it because that was part
Yeah.
of the whole point. So that's basically the vibe here is that,
And
go ahead.
yeah, and there's certain things they need on top of personal items. And in this case, Rags is like, yo, so we need, you both have been personally hurt by the beast because Alderic says that he has lost someone too to the beast. And so she was like, you both have to do, not only do you have to collect all of the items together, which Lysa's like, absolutely not. Have you seen this fop dandy? He's going to get himself killed. Why do I have to babysit him? And also, but they need personal items that have a connection to both of them, as well as having like each. So normally you can just have you need a fairy repellent, and it could just be like an ash tree or iron, but in this case it needs to be a fairy repellent with emotional connection and importance to the this whole situation and the beast. But specifically, Rag says happy. We need like things with emotional connection, but you also need things from a happy time. And so Lyse is like, oh fuck, that's a lot of shit to do. Now this guy has to be here, and he's like, I'm so sorry, this is not what I wanted. I just wanted to pay you and fuck off. Like, I was not planning to be part of this. I'm sorry you're stuck with me. And Rags was like, yep, you have to keep him with you this whole time. And
I didn't like that interaction very much because it felt a little bit on the nose as far as the reader and Elisa goes.
mhm.
Like
As Miss Allie Snow says, MacGuffin time.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But he goes out and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna sleep." Like, Rags won't let him sleep in her house. So he's like, "Yeah." So I figured I'd grab this like blanket and like go sleep in the woods. And she's like, "Well, you're gonna
In the
sleep in the
grass.
woods?" And then he's like, "Well, I didn't want to like infringe upon your privacy. It's because I already know that." And then what Maria all just said, and I'm like, because I already knew he was probably older than he was supposed to be, or something that he was different, you know?
This
And
works so much better if he's a 60-year-old gray-haired man.
it
I'm
does.
just it
It does.
because he literally
And
is like, oh,
internally,
I can sleep on the ground.
but the thing is internally he is. But there's like, it doesn't work for me. I don't know. I think it's a combination of his selflessness comboed with this. It feels very contrived. Oh, you know what it is? I think more specifically, Lysa's like whole makeup, I think is a little bit too heavy-handed, and because it's so heavy-handed, it automatically bleeds into their relationship because also their relationship is heavy-handed, as we said. It tells you, it doesn't show you. Because it tells you and doesn't show you, it comes across as contrived. I think it could have worked, but it doesn't the way it's described.
Yeah. And also because I think it would have worked better if she just found him sleeping in the grass.
Yeah.
And if
Excuse me.
he was like and he was already asleep, so they couldn't even talk about it. And she's like, why the fuck is this motherfucker sleeping in the grass? And then the next day she talks to Rags and she's like, yo, why was that guy out? And he was like,
Yeah.
Rags is like, no, I told him to go sleep in the smithy with you. And she's like, wow, it's weird that he didn't just come into the smithy. And then she's
See,
saying,
I would have preferred
and
that.
again, because we're not telling you the thing. We're not telling you how to think about this interaction. Because he says, you know, I'm going to be in your space for a very long time, and I'm going to
It
give
was
you one last
very
place of freedom. So he's telling you this is a gesture I'm doing for you for your benefit. Where if we do it the way we've described, then it allows it to be where you're inferring where it's like that's a weird choice. Why are you sleeping in the grass instead of inside? And then you the reader could go, I wonder if he did that because you know he didn't want to impose upon her. Because and then we can read the intent into his actions instead of
yes.
having everything spoon fed to us.
Yes.
And then it makes it less like the author's doing this
Cheesy.
to show us he's
It's
really
just less
nice.
cheesy because
And
then it makes the characters cheesy.
and it also can just be like, wow, he's a weird guy. Maybe he likes sleeping in the, you know, because you can read it two ways. Is he quirky or is he thoughtful?
Yeah.
Congratulations, he's both. And
Both.
it works so much better that way.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then they have to like she goes. There's also a hot spring. There's these baths that help heal stuff.
It is the magical rest stop healing
Yes,
med
it
area
literally it really is.
in a video game,
It
which
so
I
is.
don't mind. I don't mind it at all. That's fine. If that's how she
Yeah.
gets through it, that's cool.
Yeah.
Uh,
And so
then they go on a shopping trip with Nadia.
yeah,
Well,
because
oh wait, before this happens, the fight.
the fight.
Yeah, where they spar each other.
Oh yeah. So she spends the night kind of trying to think through items. She thinks of one, which is they need a botanical that has personal meaning, and there was an ash tree in her backyard. So it like actually no, it's not here, but she lists all the items they need, and the only thing they have so far is the claw. And I think she kind of thinks of the ash tree a little bit. But she's like, man, we've got a lot of stuff we're gonna have to figure out. And then the next morning, she's like, they're like, okay, we're gonna go shopping. We're gonna get you clothing that doesn't make you look like a fucking dandy out on the street. You need to look normal. And he was like, I love a shopping trip. And they're gonna go with Nadia. But before that, she's like, before we do anything, I need to make sure you're gonna
You can hold your own.
you can hold your own. You're not gonna die. So I need you to punch me. And he's like, what? I don't want to punch you. I don't want to. And she's like, you have to. What if there's a? And he was like, and because at first I think she thinks
It's because she's a girl
woman.
and yeah.
And he's like, she's like, listen, Honoria is also a woman. If you have to take her, and he was like, if you don't understand, it's not because of you or you're a woman. I don't want to punch anyone. But anyway,
I liked that a lot.
Yeah, it's and because I like the idea of him being this pacifist, like the crimes of, and it also feeds into. There's this point later where you wonder, like, would he have been a pacifist if it hadn't been for him turning into the beast? And how does that change exactly? How does that impact like his reaction to these things? And like, is this who he would have become? Would he have been this good of a person without this? Like all that kind of stuff. Which anyway, but he like uses the bottom his palm and he like hits her in the under her chin, snaps her head back, and then ends up swiping her legs out from under, because she's like, I just need one punch, and then she does it, and he's like, we're done, right? And she's like, no, square up, buddy. And he like knocks her back. The others laugh, and he's like, I swear I'll be fine. And she's like, can you use like a weapon? And she's like, he's like, I can use a sword. And he's like,
oh, he said specifically, I used to use a sword.
I used to use a sword. And she's like, oh, okay. And he was like, yeah, I was a tourney knight. And she was like, whatever that is, okay. And then which is like fighting for show, like it's not like war fighting, it's competitive combat. And then she's like, can you use a gun? And he was like, no. And so she kind of shows him how to shoot. He's able to hit something, and then they're like, okay, let's go shopping. And then we have like
I want to pause real quick. This scene was completely unnecessary.
I
would have preferred it to be
this was a different book.
Yes, I would have preferred, because it's very, again, contrived. The whole bullet, that him getting the target, him being really good at fighting, her eating her shit, basically, in this moment, eating her own words. Like, cut all of this. We didn't need it. Instead, because really, at the end of the day, the point is that she's going to have to protect him. She should have just fully believed her words or whatever. Because what is she going to do in that moment? Teach him how to throw a punch? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's all meaningless. So what really should have happened is they should have gone out. There should have been a kerfuffle before later on. Or there should have been a situation where he proves himself. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. And then she's like, maybe I thought about this differently. Because despite the fact that he's able to, like, do the thing, take her legs out from underneath her, she's still like, well, I guess he's not completely useless, and doesn't think, wow, that's kind of like sophisticated, because he didn't just punch me. He did like an actual.
She's not been trained either. But the thing is that, see, this is where it gets complicated, because it's like she's had so many fighting situations. Has she fought fairies before, or has she only fought hounds and trolls and stuff? And then from all those, it takes different fighting styles. It's because I'm sure trolls are different than the serpent of whatever. So like she's had to have like, in some way, acquired skill where she can evaluate the skill of others. So then it comes into that. But none of this is characterized at all. Again, her being a warrior is not really well characterized.
We're told Rags helped turn her into this weapon against the hounds. And I'm like,
Sopramu liked it. No, I get it. I can see why you liked it, and it was a good stepping stone for their relationship. I just personally, I'm kind of tired of these little like quick training scenes that like it didn't really.
That I think I completely get it, Katie, because from a plot function, it doesn't. So it's a purely characterization slash helping their friendship scene. But like the actual like, because Katie's right. What are you gonna do? Teach him how to fight in a scene like in two
Mm-hmm.
minutes before you go shopping? So I completely understand that. I understand both sides. And then okay, so they go shopping, and we have like they go to like a store, and at first he wants to go to like the dandy looking stores, and Lysa's like, no, what about this one, which had very practical like travel clothing outside of it, and then it turns out inside it's got crazy clothes, and he's like, yeah, let's do it. And then there's like a montage. He has like 8 bags, or she has to go get some steel, like a specific kind that she needs to make the sword. And so she's like, Nadia, stay here with him and make sure he buys practical things and he doesn't buy crazy shit. And Nadia's like, I'm not babysitting him. That's not why I'm here. Like, if you want to babysit him, you need to do it yourself. So she goes off. There's this whole interaction
It's
that
not
really doesn't matter.
No, it's not for the steal. She has to offload her goods so she can give Nadia the money to go pay for things.
Oh, yes.
That's what it is. Also, as a side note, real quick, yeah, I get what you're saying. Soprano. To be fair, there's a big difference between killing animals and people, like not knowing how to, like knowing how to fight a bear. That's fair. Like, yeah, completely. But I just don't feel like it's really, like, played with.
Yeah. And also, was she ever trained to fight people as well? Like, we're never told that or anything. Like, there's no.
Like, how skilled is she actually at fighting? Like, I
Yeah.
don't, like, I'm
She
like, I'm
just-
confused.
Yeah,
I guess.
she uses different. Like, she can use a sword, she can use an axe,
An
she can use a
axe.
mace. Like, she's done a lot of things, but like,
A gun.
Yeah. Um. Anyway, so she comes back. They're like, it's a huge ass. Like, he's got 8 bags of things. The shop clerk is like, this is the greatest day of my life. Nadia's like, yeah, that looks great on you. And he's like, I'm buying it. And she's like, please just buy normal ass shit. And then at the end of the shopping spree, like, they do get him to buy some like, brown and black, like plain clothes.
Actually, he gets fully black outfit. So it's like a really nice outfit, but it's fully black,
Fully
and he
black.
looks like a crow.
Yes. And then he ends up giving Nadia
Nadia a little crow bag.
a little with that has
Blackbird
crows on it,
bag.
which is she can turn into, and she's like so touched. She's like, oh my god, thank you, like we're best friends now. And so then like they're getting ready to go do their stuff, and like they kind of talk about like what do we need, and she's like, okay, I think I have the wood figured out. There's a tree, but what do you have? Like, I don't have any positive relationship with water. Do you have a body? Because she's like, he's a rich guy, I guarantee you he went boating or had like some positive experience with a body of water. I'm a city girl, I don't know shit about water. And he was like, yeah. And she's like, was it boating? And he's like, I won't say, don't worry about it. So they end up going to her old childhood home where there's the ash tree in the backyard that her and her brother used to play with. And there's this whole thing about like, she wants to just steal it. He wants to go in and pretend they're tree people coming into
Arborists.
to notate
Which
the
I
health
thought
of the
was
tree.
great.
It was very funny. And then it ends up like not working, where the woman's like, please go away. My tree's fucking fine. And then Brandy, the doggo, is like, this is my old home, and rushes up to the old bedroom where her like sick daughter is. And she's like, oh my god, if that dog kills my daughter, I'm gonna like sue you. But it ends
She
up
does not
opening.
say that, but yes, that's the vibe.
Yeah, it ends up opening the door for realizing that this is Lysa's old home, and because she recognizes Lysa from just staring at her house sometimes, and Lysa's like, I'm sorry, I didn't realize anyone noted me. This is the house I used to live in. And we were actually
It's like where the last happy memories I ever had were.
And he's like, can I just buy a twig, the branch? Here's a butt ton of money. And she was like, I can't take that. But anyway, it's a nice scene. He learns
really quick. As a side note, this is actually a really good point. I wish we got almost like one or two more instances of it, but in different ways. The whole idea of him like making up a lie about their job actually makes a lot of sense, because if he's 300 years old, it means he must have had to lie a lot to make up for who he is and why he's where he's at.
He keeps. I guarantee you, he has to do this thing where he has to keep pretending he's his own son. Like,
oh my! See, I wish it went into that.
Go away for 10 years and then be like, hi,
I'm so-and-so's son. The spitting image.
Here's the document signed by my dear papa.
Oh my god, that's so funny. But but it does make sense with his characterization. So again, that is like a really cool aspect to it. That's a good thing. So anyway, she gets the branch. They have like an emotional moment. They give the family money to help with the sick child.
Yeah. And then they have to wait for a specific day, for a specific moon phase, to get the water and the grave dirt, because it has to be under.
Why didn't she have to collect the branch by the light of the moon?
I don't know.
Because didn't she say they had to collect the stuff by the light of the moon?
It was, as far as I know, it was only the grave dirt and the water.
Oh, maybe it was only grave dirt and water then. Okay, yeah. I don't know.
Now, why was it only the grave dirt and the water? I don't know. But the plan is to get grave dirt from Eddie's grave because it's, the most emotionally significant to her. Then they need they're going to get the water from his family estate's lake that he used to swim in when he was a happy kid.
What ends up happening is, so then they go off on their mission to his old estate, right?
Well, let's do the scene with her father really quick.
It doesn't happen
when she gets the grave dirt. That happens. Nope. Right before.
No, it happens after the water. It happens way after.
No, I think it's right before.
No, but we did skip the encounter with her father, but that's way before she even met Alderic. So wait, real quick, we did skip this. Long story short, she went to one of the places where she enters one of the thinning areas into the liminal space is in the area where the accident happened, where they have all the graves for the people who died from the beast. She visits her brother's grave there. She's really sad that it has his full name because he hated his full name, Edmund, as opposed to Eddie. And her father comes across her and is like, "Oh, is that you, Lysa? Blah, 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 blah." And she's like, "Oh, you piece of garbage. Like, you literally left us in a workhouse after our mother died. You were a drunk that got angry at us all the time. You ran away internationally, and you never came back to help us. And you think it's okay to come here and to talk to me or any of this?" And so anyway, like, that kind of thing happens. But no, the graveyard dirt is actually one of the last things to happen.
Oh, no, I'm right. If we get the grave dirt, as soon as it's dark that night, we'd be able to go to the door and go to Lindensham and collect the water. The scenes are next to each
they
other.
don't do it yet, though. They do the water before. Believe me.
No,
because I listened to it this morning. Believe me. Guys, back me up in the chat.
I'm correct.
No.
I'm telling you. I'm reading it right now.
No, because she stabs her father in the leg with the shovel.
Yes, and then they go
Yes, but that's after they've gone to the
hotel.
That's after they've gone to the hotel.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It isn't.
It isn't. Oh my god.
I'm telling you, it's not.
I'm telling you. Guys, in the chat, god damn it, hurry up.
Yeah, come on.
We're not moving on till we get this figured out. I'm going to chat GBT to see if they'll give me it. Because I don't know how else to look it up.
I'm looking at the book,
they talked to her dad a second time to get the phone. That's later, though.
Yes, that's what you're...
Yes, they go at night to go get to the graveyard. Guys, you're not helping me. No, I refuse. Because Brandy gets scratched and the mermaid scene happens next. I thought it was water first with the mermaids and then they go to the graveyard.
It's not. It's not. I'm telling you, Katie. It's not.
Hold on a second.
I'm not a body snatcher, so this is page 201 where her dad catches her. I'm not a body snatcher. And then they go through come on, she barked at Alderic and stormed away across the grass to the park where it's easiest to draw a door. You stabbed him, he said. We've established that.
That's later.
No. She shoved the door. She knocked on the chalk lines on Alderic's face. It was pouring right when it spat them out.
Yeah.
And they're going to get the water now.
No.
Yes, we don't have time for this. We have to get Oh, actually you're right. It was the coffin nails. Oh my gosh.
I'm fucking right.
Oh, you are. It was the coffin nails that are after. Because they say in that other thing that it was
I am telling you
doing it after.
Because I listened to it yesterday and today.
Okay. Listen, I finished it last night. You're correct.
Okay,
I concede. It's the coffin nails that they do after that.
I'm gonna poop myself. That's how angry I was like ready to poop
I concede.
Okay, look. After I remember it's because as soon as they get the branch, she's like, "Hey, we're gonna go in the arch and out the arch real quick, so we don't lose any time
Okay.
between the moon cycles." And so anyway, they do the thing. They had to stay in this one city that wasn't where his old place was. It's because that was the closest place they could go. It's because this other town that was closer all hates her. It's because she killed a fairy that was actually helping them when they tried to steal her stuff. Anyway,
And then it was raining.
yes, it was. And so they got stuck in the town for a couple of days and then they make it up there. And this is actually a really cool scene. I liked the vibes of it. I just,
Yes.
nothing really like.
You're right. There should have been a monster in the woods.
Yeah, well, it specifically said they catch a turnip lady. They catch a ride from like a farmer lady and she has turnips in the back and they go up and she will not go past a certain point and she's like, no, no matter how much money you give me, there's no way I will ever go through this forest. This is where our children have disappeared. This is where monsters live. And so they go and she's like, yeah, I can tell something's stalking us. Nothing happens, by the way, guys. And so they get up. Nothing. And so they get up to the which actually was fine. I thought on the way down they'd get it. But anyway, they go up there, they make camp outside because he definitely doesn't want to go in the house. And he's gonna go get water from and it's night. They go down to the dock, it's off a steep cliffside.
And he's having an emotional reaction. Like he doesn't like this place. She's like, okay, we're gonna have to make camp before we go do this. And he's like, I don't want to make camp. I don't want to stay here. Can we please go back? Well, I have lanterns. And she's like, no, like that doesn't make sense. It's dark. It's slippery. It was raining. We can't do that. And so continue, Katie.
But yeah, so anyway, they make camp, they go down, and she's like, all right, and the dog's not listening to her. She wanted to leave the dog behind. The dog is still not listening to her, still won't be left behind at the campsite, comes down to the water with them. And he goes to go get the water with the special canteen that's supposed to help preserve the magical qualities of it. And all of a sudden, Brandy is barking at something, the dog, and gets snatched up by a pale hand. And then she's like, oh no, and she goes after, and then Alderic gets snatched.
Alderic
jumps
jumped in. Before
Yes.
she's even fully understood what's happened, Alderic just jumps in the water. And then all of a sudden, also, thank you, Ciprimu, for thinking I was right. I wasn't. But I appreciate the vote of confidence. But anyway,
look, Maria's usually right, so I just knew in this instance.
You know what it was the
rain. I know.
Well, no, not just that. The conversation where she literally says, "We'll get this," and then go get the water at the same. I was like, "Oh, okay." Yeah. But anyway. And then
a mermaid's attack, basically, and so Alderic rescues the dog. They leave the canteen behind. She asks Alderic to get it, but he doesn't remember. And so they run back up, and
they have to patch up.
Yeah, they patch up Brandy, and then she lets her anger overcome herself. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to go make them pay. Stay up here. Don't come down no matter what. And so she goes down there, and she goes into, like, you know, a beast mode, battle haze, berserker. And she's definitely killing herself. She's gone underwater. The dock has collapsed. She can't find the canteen. She saw that one of the mermaids had it. And she's gone under. And instead of prioritizing getting the canteen, which is what I thought she might switch over to.
That's what I thought she was going to do.
That makes way more sense. Instead, she just wants to hurt, like she wants to punch something. And anyway, long story short, Alderic comes along, rescues her from the water. She really was about to drown. And she's got these horrible wounds all over her. Yeah, and the mermaids flutter away. Yeah. And
also,
he's like,
the mermaids, and we learned this when he dived in to get Brandy, the mermaids are for some reason scared of Alderic. Mm-hmm. And he was like, wow, really weird. I don't know why that's happening. And you're like, and this whole time, because there's been a couple of things where you're like, are you a fairy, Alderic? What the fuck's up?
I wish he had been a fairy instead, but whatever. That's
so again for me, because I didn't know going into this that this was a Beauty and Beast thing. I thought it was going to be the great portrayal of him actually being a fairy and her having to deal with that, and that he had his own. Even though he was a fairy, he still had a reason for wanting to kill this hound thing. So at this point, I'm like, ooh, how's this gonna? Meanwhile, if you know that it's a Beauty and the Beast thing, you just know the whole fucking time. I think reading it the way I read it is better.
Probably, because how cool would it have been if he had been the fairy that created the hound?
Yeah, and now he wants it. He
realizes the error of his ways, or something like that. I don't know. That might have been cooler.
It's just, again, that's what I thought was happening, like the whole time, and then until he was like, and then I had a curse put upon me, and I was like, ah, god I see
Yeah.
where we're going now.
Yeah. But anyway, he then harangues her and says, "Hey, like you weren't doing this for Brandy. Brandy was already safe. Brandy was already stitched up. You went down there for you and you alone in order to punch something because your anger got the best of you." And he's very upset with her at this point. And this really, I did like this part for her, and I thought this was a great characterization moment because I thought the development of her thoughts was really well done. And she
Yes.
finally does shut up, and she says, because he's like, and I don't even get a thank you for rescuing your dog, and she's like, thank you.
And
I
also, if you die, I don't get this. Like, this isn't just your quest, buddy
Yeah.
boy. This is mine as well. And Katie's right. She's like, oh shit, you're right. And she does thank him for saving the dog. Also, real quick, Nonanon D, welcome, says, upgraded my Patreon. You guys do these book club live streams every 2 weeks for just $10. I can support the channel and engage in deep convo on the books instead of just watching your recordings. Yes,
correct.
Nonanon.
That is correct.
Yes, you can. Welcome.
And if you scroll upwards or go backwards in this at some point, you'll notice that some of the commentary was real spicy good.
We had some hot takes.
Yeah,
earlier.
but so anyway, we're about halfway through the book rendition. The first hour of this was our feelings on it, so we're probably not going to do feelings at the end. Just giving you a heads up, except for on the way.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this was a really good moment. I thought it was a well written moment. I was curious how she was going to handle Lysa's ability to accept her misgivings and wrongness. I think she did a great job in it and in characterizing it. Anyway, so then how did they get the water again?
Okay. So
that's right. He ends up going out and fishing it out.
He's like, go to sleep, and I'll take the first watch. And she wakes up, and it's afternoon because she's like, oh, I have to get up and go get the thing. She wakes up. He's there. He's already gotten it. He went out last night. He was like, after 2 dips in the water, a third one sounded swell, and he went and he found it. And you're like, he swam the lake. What is happening? Like, again, and Lysa's just like, wow, this guy, the mermaids are scared of him. He went swimming and found this thing at the bottom of a lake. I guess this is a normal ass dude. And it's just so, you're just like, Lysa, wake up, my girl. Put 2 and 2 together. Anything.
I know. I thought you knowing as the reader sapped the tension a lot. And not like it created a different kind of tension, but not in a way that I liked for my opinion, in my own opinion. But anyway, so after that, then is that when they go to the hotel afterwards?
I think.
Yeah, because she's going to go collect the medal for it.
Where's the scene where he confesses about his scars? Oh no, it is here. So wait, this is where we start getting the stuff where she's like, and she began to feel positive toward him because after he rescues her, he has a cut, and
she notices his massive amount of wrist cuts.
Yeah, there's blood, and she's like, let me help you, and she like lifts up his sleeve because he's like, please don't do that, and he's got all of these cuts, and she's like, oh my god, what is this? And he's also got this giant scar right across his neck that has always been covered by a cravat or his hair, and she sees it now. And he was like, so the burn marks are for remember when I told you my dad after the beast killed my brother, because he's honest with her about this place, why the walls look burnt, and he was like, the beast was inside, and my father tried to burn down, and he's honest that it's his brother, and she knows like, oh, we both lost brothers to this. There feels something, like kinship happening, but she doesn't tell him that her brother also died, and he was like, yeah, my father burned the entire house down trying to kill the beast inside, and then when she sees all the scars, he was like, so I was also in the house when he tried to burn the house down.
No,
and then
no. She later wonders to herself when she realizes he's the beast. She thinks, "Oh God." That's when she realizes he must have been inside.
She says, right? He says it there, but what she realizes then is, did he know?
He does say it. He does say it. Yeah.
Later, what she thinks about was, did he know that the beast was Alderic when he set that house on fire? So, and then he's also like, and these scars on my wrist are from when I tried to kill myself. And she's like, oh my God, why did you? And he was like, after my brother like died, like my entire life, and I just
fell apart,
didn't want to. And she's like, oh, I had my promise I made to my brother that I would kill the beast to like spur me
That kept
on
me
and
going. Yeah.
kept me going. How would it have been if I didn't have that? And this is the scene, this whole thing, because like he rescues her dog, they have this heart to heart, she's feeling for him, he's, you know, he's nice to people, all that stuff. He paid the lady for the branch a lot, and she's like, wow, this, you know, like all, but like this is this part where like the scenes are happening and she's like, she was hit by a feeling, what was this, could this be
What is this
friendship?
feeling so sudden and new?
And yes, exactly. It's like the scene, like instead of just having the scene and taking all of the things about her feeling fondness of him, because like if you were watching this scene without the internal monologue of how she's getting hit by these emotions, you'd be like, oh, look at them, they're bonding. But having the author going, they're becoming friends, guys, look, they're becoming friends, it just really undercuts this scene. Because
the
it's
nasally quality of your exclamation. Also, right here, excuse me. One of my first theories was that
Chris M
he was
says,
Fae and that he was indirectly responsible for the beast being created. Like maybe another Fae thought he was killed and thus cursed a human, and Al wanted to undo it. That would have been cool too. Just more complex, you know. But whatever.
and again, Chris, I love that Chris M and I were on the same page of not realizing this was a Beauty and the Beast retelling. So we were just like, "Oh, is he Fae?" Like, because that made the tension better for me. Of like, "Ooh, you know," like because it wasn't just like he is the Beast, and you know that this was a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I just was like, "Ooh, how is this gonna go as they make their friendship and like the third act breakup?" You know, like all that stuff. So Miss Alex Snow says the problem is that the reader knows and Lysa doesn't. Visceral suspense can
I know.
work.
Yeah.
It's the reader, and if the reader and Lysa have the same information and we figure out at the same time, she's blissfully ignorant. C. Primeval also says there was a moment where I thought his brother was the Beast. You know, there's a lot of interesting things that could have played into this, because you do get the idea that whatever it is complicated. And there's this point where he says, you know, my brother Desmond, and she's like, you know, I've looked at all the beasts, like for the past 200 years, all the people who killed the beast, and she's like, oh, he was like, I'm immediately like, oh, this guy's an elf. He's over 200 years old, and that's why you don't know this. And then he's like, my family's very rich and we kept it out of the papers. We didn't want to be part of the tabloids. And she's like, yeah, I buy that. And I'm just like, God damn it, Lysa.
I know. Anyway, like, so after this, though, somebody mentioned, but yes, they go back to the woods to heal up at their magical healing spot.
So Miss Allie Snow, I do need to explain. Katie knew. Katie got it. She picked up all the shit. Because Miss Allie Snow says y'all didn't realize, but
they literally have a song called "Kill the Beast." Yes,
Kill the Beast.
And actually, it is not called "Kill the Beast." It's called the Mob Song. Thank you.
Yes.
And it is my favorite song in the entire movie, as Maria knows. It is by far my favorite, and that's why I want to read the Gaston book. It's because I love Gaston. But anyway, like I just wish. Anyway, but anyway, so they go back, they heal, and then I'm pretty sure what happens next. They have a couple conversations at some point, and there's like these misgivings because she's unwilling, meaning Lysa is unwilling to share her past, even though he shared his. And I was kind of irritated by this, but I understood it emotionally why it might happen. Only because it's like, come on, dude, stop being a jerk. Like, he's literally trying to be there for you. But it's understandable also, like with trauma. And isn't this when they go to the hotel?
Yeah, this is where they go to the hotel. So Raglan, like they end up going to Raglan. They heal up a little bit there, but then they have to go. She needs to get the steel, and he's supposed to come with her. And so for the night, they need accommodations because when they end up coming into the human world again, it's nighttime. And he's like, "Okay, let's get someplace." And she's like, "Well, let's just stay at like the equivalent of a motel." And he was like, "And get bed bugs? Absolutely not. This skin." Not today.
And then he's like, where's one place you've always wanted to stay? And she says what her and her brother used to be like, oh, if we had all the money in the world, where would we go? And she picked this one place. And I kind of I think this is a missed opportunity for something cute or fun. Instead, it was just a big kind of drag moment. So they go to this place, but they have like a bit of a tiff with each other, especially because she's trying to be put distance between them emotionally.
Yeah, she kind of realizes after what happened the night before that having an emotional connection with him is not helping, because you know, having friendships means she's not willing to like let herself die killing the beast, and that she can't, like, they have to maintain professional boundaries, and they cross the line, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna have to tell him that. And then he also is like, we need to maintain professional boundaries. And they basically and it
Both
because
put a wedge in their relationship development there. And so they go to the hotel. They get a his and hers connected suite or whatever, but they each have their own room. And she goes to lie down, and I remember her. She was thinking to herself, she's like, you know, this means nothing to me now. What would have been nice is sharing this with somebody. And I'm like, dang it, I really would have liked like a scene or something where she was able to do that finally. But I guess she finally gets it at the end at some point, probably. But anyway, she then goes the next day, and Alderic's like, leave me.
he's like, I need to go drink. And
Yeah.
she's like, okay. So he goes off to drink.
Think about
Okay.
your personal item that you need. And she goes, and she goes to this one place that she usually goes. They don't have the type of steel that she wants. It starts with a V. I always want to say Valerian steel.
It sounds
It sounds an awful lot like it to me.
I think it's Illyrian, like with an I when I was reading it. And then she has this whole interaction with like the rich store, like where she gets to pull the what is that?
She uses her words instead of her fists, as she learned from
uses
Alderic.
money. She pulls the, what is that movie where the prostitute is like, big mistake, where she goes in and, oh god, what is the, where it's with, I think it's Richard Gere and what's her face, she's the prostitute. She goes into a rich store and she has his credit card, and they're like, we don't take your kind here, get out of here. So she goes to a different store, and she ends up like making buying a ton of stuff, and then she Pretty Woman. Yeah, it is.
I know. Miss Ellie Snow. I'm like, aren't you describing Pretty Woman?
Yeah, it's Lysa's Pretty Woman moment where like the guy's like, oh, look at this dumb, not educated, and she's like, here's my money. I know, and then she gets treated seriously, and she was like, wow, money does sell things, and it's literally the Pretty Woman moment. Like that's what this was. While I was reading it, I was like, okay.
Yes, and so she goes back to the hotel, and upon entering, she ends up running into. I still forget her name.
Honoria.
I just know Honey.
It's Honor with some extra letters at the end, so that's why she calls her Honey. No,
Honoria.
It's Honoria.
Honoria. Yeah. Honoria. So anyway, so she's like really super sexy. Her boobies are out, and so they have like a terse conversation about stuff. Honoria basically and like, is you're still ignorant. You're still.
You don't actually know what's going. Basically, the vibe is you don't actually know what is going on, and you're kind of dumb. And then you know that Honoria knows more than she's letting on.
But she also. We've been told this already, but she also had a geisha put on her by the fairy. So I'm just going to quickly describe this real quick because it comes up a little later, but you can just know it now. Basically, long story short, they were lovers in the past. Honoria was the old blacksmith for Rags, and they ended up developing a relationship. And at one point, Honoria saw the bloodlust that Lysa had, and she's like, I don't like your bloodlust. I don't like that it makes you happy to kill. And she ended up meeting a fairy woman who was helping the hounds, but she got the geisha put on her, and she's like, Lysa, what you don't realize is that there's something else going on. I can't tell you because of the geisha put on my hand, but and then of course Lysa gets really angry and stabs her through the hand with the geisha, and she's like, screw you, and then like runs off. But so
why would you want to protect the hounds? You know I'm trying to kill one.
Yes. And why it's a secret, I'm not really sure.
Yeah. Miss Allie Snow makes the point, why is the nature of the hounds a secret? Make it make sense. And it's this big thing where like the fairies are like, wow, we can't let, because like the secret of the hounds is they are cursed humans that have the fairies feel slighted by and then thus cursed. So like that one where it was created when that river got polluted, the guy who like that serpent monster was the guy that polluted the river, and you realize that all of these hounds have been humans. And now we're gonna get a different side of why Rags is doing what she's doing, but like the very idea that like people don't actually know what hounds are is wild, and that the fairies don't want people to know that they're humans, and they curse other humans to secrecy. Like, well, if you know, you then are cursed to secrecy, so you can't tell people.
It's just like I'm not sure what the purpose is.
It feels plot relevant because if Honoria just came out and said they're humans, Lysa, done.
Then maybe it would have changed some stuff.
The story's done. Like,
yeah,
congratulations.
So anyway, they have a terse conversation, and Lysa is afraid that Honoria has basically persuaded Alderic to
Alberic.
uh, go to her side or something like that. They have this
Or that they
conversation.
kidnapped him, and
Yeah. So
they
she
know that
runs
she
up.
needs him
Yeah.
to kill the beast.
Yeah, and so she runs up. She's really scared that he's been kidnapped because it looks like he's been kidnapped because his stuff's all over the place. But then she realizes from the clerk that at the front that he's just in the lounge, super drunk. And so she goes in there. She sits next to him. He's like, "I told her to fuck off," and she's like, "Oh, I'm sure you did it politely though." And he's like, "No, no amount of cleavage could make me happy like that. I just told her to fuck off."
Yeah.
And anyway, she was like, "Well, it really scared me. It's because, I care about you, long story short."
And
And
he's
that,
like,
and,
"You care about me?"
and then puts his head on her shoulder. And then he doesn't remember any of this later because he's super drunk. And then they wake up the next morning. She fell asleep at the foot of his bed. He's like, "What are you doing here? It's because, like, he's still angry at her. And she lies continuously. And then that is when they go to collect the graveyard
The
dirt.
graveyard. Also, it is, I think, before this, or maybe after this. It might be after this. When he discovers that she's planning that she'll die at the end of this. I think it's after. Anyway,
No, it's
so
before. It's because he's like, "Well, I'm glad to have given," because she's like, "Thank you for the room," and he's like,
oh yeah, you're right. Everyone
"Yeah,"
needs
he's
to be.
like,
And that's one of the things that has greatly upset him is that he wants the beast to be killed a lot, but he doesn't. He now cares about her and doesn't want her to die, and so he kind of tries to make her promise that she will do. And I think that part happens later where he makes her promise to not die. But anyway, so they go to get the grave dirt. So they go to the memorial park where her brother is buried, and she's getting some of the grave dirt. And he was like, he says something about it, and he was like, "Yeah, I paid for all of these headstones. Like
because
this."
no, there were a lot of people weren't
Oh
around
no,
or whatever.
it happens. It happens after. Okay, so anyway, as they're getting the grave dirt, her dad shows up again, and he's like, "Lysa, you're a grave robber. You're a resurrectionist. How dare you? If you needed money, why didn't you come to me?" And she's like, "That's not what's fucking happening." But she gets pissed because her dad's yelling at her, and she's like, "We're gonna have a fucking." And she's like, "You abandoned us. You left." And she is told,
The whole
um,
story at this point now, like
well,
in
no,
front
not
of
yet.
Alderic.
No, he doesn't know the whole story at all. This is where he
Well,
finds out that
that's what I mean.
yeah,
Right
this
now in
is
this moment.
yeah, this is where he finds out that that Eddie is her brother, that the person who they're getting, and that how she had, because there's a point where earlier he asks, "How did you go from living in this nice house to a rougher life?" And she was like, "You don't need to know that." Rah, rah, rah. And so this is where like that her father left them, like abandoned her and her brother after their mother died, and ran away with his debts, and so they had to work in a workhouse, which was really shitty and terrible. And her dad is like, ah, and then she ends up stabbing her father with the trowel.
By accident, mind you. She
Yeah.
just like whips around and catches him on it.
Yeah, and there's this whole thing where he's like, "You stabbed him," and her dad's like, "She stabbed me." And as they're kind of like walking away, he was like, "You didn't tell me that like Edmund Cadigan, your last name's Carnifax. I didn't realize it was Cadigan." And she was like, "Why would you know that name?" And he was like, "I paid for that headstone. I paid for all of those headstones, just like I paid for all of the Hound's victims for the past while." Like there was no one else there to do it, which kind of hits her because after her brother died,
She
was
got
in
stuck
such
in
a
fairy
yeah,
land
with
place.
Raglan. It was such a traumatic event that she ended up like booping into fairy or into the woods, and so she wasn't there to bury her brother or to like put anything on his headstone, anything like that. And he was like, "I wish you would have told me." And he's upset. He's angry. Like, I confessed and confided in you, and you kept this very important detail that your brother had been killed by the beast, and that like this is super personal to you. And they are going to the crypt. Like there's the giant cemetery where all of his family has been buried. And they're going to the crypt that his brother is in, because the way they figure out to get the iron, because again they need a fairy repellent that has personal significance, so they're getting the grave the coffin nails
Nails. Yeah.
from his brother's thing, and so he's able to go in, and she wants to be there for him because she knows it's going to be a hard thing to do, but he's upset with her and the fact that she didn't let him in, so he kind of tells her to go back up after they have this interaction, and she doesn't. She waits for him, but she doesn't follow him into the crypt. He gets the nails, and he's like, I told you to go back up, and she's like, blah. And so as they're kind of getting ready to leave the cemetery, the hound wardens attack, and they're like, oh, and they end up shooting a bunch of arrows into like at Lysa, and he puts himself in front of them, and it like goes through his heart, and she's like, oh, motherfucker's dead. And at this point we've seen him heal quickly a couple times. Does our girl Lysa put two and two together? Absolutely not. She's like, oh my god, you killed them. So she immediately battle modes. She kills two of the hound wardens and chops off Honey's hand. Yeah, with that had her geish on it. And then he's like, Lysa, I'm not dead. And she turns and she sees him like removing the one that went through his heart.
And he's like, yeah, and he's like so angry at her. He's like, how could you have killed them? And stuff like that. I'm like, bro, come on. And
like, she thought you were dead. They were attacking. She didn't know that you were immortal. If you would have told her that, it would have been a different situation.
Thank you. Anyway, Honoria ends up stabbing her through her chest from behind.
Like, they're having a moment where she's like, they killed you. Nobody gets to kill my people,
the ones I love,
my friends, and the ones I love. And he's like, what did you say? And she's like, you're my friend, and you were dead. Because like, this girl legit was like she's like, you were dead. Like, she can't get over the fact that this guy is alive. And he's like, I'm immortal. And she was like, oh, and then stabbed right through the gut. Like, just through the stomach. Also, Honoria, fucking what wild moment to interrupt. Like, oh, wow.
I know.
Especially because she was bonding with him. And if I was Honoria, I was like, maybe this is how Lysa changes. Maybe this is the moment.
I don't think she cares after Lysa chopped off her hand.
That's true. Anyway, stabs her through the heart, or through the stomach. And he's like, oh, shit. So then he has to, like, rescue her. And he's like, come on, you got to stay awake. They go to Rags. Rags has to do, like, a whole thing.
Rags ends up yoinking out some of her teeth in exchange for some of the sacrifice to bring her back from the dead. She wakes up. They have a heart-to-heart.
He gave a lot of blood because he was helping as well. When she first wakes up, she doesn't remember what happened. And, like, they kind of talking about it. And then she kind of remembers. And he's like, whoops, I'm going to go get Rags. And the Rags comes in and she sees that the teeth are missing. And it's this moment of her realizing, wow, this person who raised me and who I've been with for the past 13 years genuinely cares about me, and I have not given her the time or attention that she deserves, and like, she actually cares about me. But she's like, also, Rags, I need to go talk to that guy. How the fuck is this asshole immortal? And so this is when he confesses, I was cursed by a fae. Like, I was a real lady. Remember when I told you I was a
lady killer?
I was a real 300 years ago. I was like the top tourney knight that there was, and I slept with all the girls in the castle. And then one of them turned out to be a fairy, and I broke her heart. And
you know what this reminds me of?
What?
This reminds me of wait a second. Hold on a second.
You got this.
Not to be so beautiful. Oh shoot. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Oh, it does remind me of Howl's Moving Castle in a way. In this moment, it reminds me of the scene where he's like, she was very beautiful. I went after
with
her.
the Witch of the Waste.
After I stayed with her, I realized she was not so beautiful.
Yeah.
or something like that. And it's like, oh, you mean she's an old hag, fat lady? Yeah. Like, and you don't want to stick with her? Anyway, that's what it reminded me a lot of in that moment. I can't believe it took me that long to make that connection, especially considering the premise.
We've brought it up multiple times in this. But anyway, and he was like, so I've been cursed, and the curse is that I cannot die unless somebody can love me and I can love someone, and also that they have to, I have to love someone enough to be willing to die for them. They have to love me knowing fully what I am. And she's like, whoa, wild and times.
But she gets so angry, and she's like, how could I have trusted you, blah blah blah. And see, so like, I get this a little bit, but it's just really frustrating.
I don't think this was where she got angry with him.
No, well, she just is like, well, I'm going to have to kill you. That's that.
No. She doesn't know. She doesn't know this. Like, this isn't the scene. She finds out about his immortality. Then later, when she's like, what if I, like, you're jumping.
I jumped, yeah.
You jumped. Because you and I, same reaction, different scene. Here, she's like, wow, what a shitty fairy curse. Like, that sucks. And but she also doesn't remember in this moment that she said that she loved him. Because they're going to get other items and stuff to deal with it. And like, while they're doing it, she's like, well, what's your personal item going to be? And because this entire time he's like, I don't have any items.
Oh, that's right.
make me happy, that give me that or have a happy personal connection at all. And then she's like, well, we have to figure out something for you. Have you thought of it? And he was like, oh yeah, I got it. Once you said that it didn't have to be about a victim or connected to a victim, that like I am a victim of this, that something that makes me happy can work for this. Oh no, wait, we have to do the scene with her father. So
yes,
yeah,
do it quickly though. So, oh my god, just summarize it.
Yeah, basically, there's a picture that her father has of her family when she was younger, and she was like, that's my happy item, that's the item I need. And her dad's like, it's the last thing I have, because Alderic arranges a meetup secretly with neither of them knowing about it, and they have to have a heart-to-heart, and he's like, I'm sorry, and she's like, and she's like, if you want to win back my trust and you said you would do anything, this is it, you have to give me that photo because I need to save him. And like they're kind of honest, so she gets the photo and she's like, now we just need to get yours. And he's like, oh yeah, I already got mine. And she's like, what's yours? And he like takes out a leaf, very Frankenstein-esque.
Yeah.
He takes out a leaf and he was like, this leaf was in your hair last night. And she was like, why would that matter? And he was like, well, it's when you and she was like, right before I got stabbed. And he was like, well, no, it's what you said. And she's like, what did I say? And he was like, you said that I'm your friend. And then she remembers, and then she's like, oh yeah, I love this guy, like this guy is my friend and I have genuine feelings. And she looks at him and she goes, Alderic, what if I could break the curse for you? Because all she knows is that she needs to know who he is. I love him, and he needs to be willing to die for her, which he's already done. He put himself in front of some arrows, you know?
Yeah.
And so she's like, what if it's us? And he's like, unfortunately, there's this part about you need to accept me for like the worst part of me, and nobody has been willing to do that so far. And she's like, well, what could that possibly be? Like, what would be so bad? And he's like,
and then he shows her the glyph.
He shows her the glyph that's on his chest, and she's like, holy shit, why do you have that? And he's like, I'm the beast. I've done heckin' been cursed.
I've done heckin' been cursed.
Yeah, because in the scene with her dad, she confesses what happened. Like the day, like she describes the day that Eddie died. And so, you know, there's this guy in a striped outfit, and then the beast was in a cage, and they were like, come on, stab this beast, see if you can kill it. Just stab it right in the glyph. Kind of like they were thinking like Cinderella, like maybe there was a certain person that had to kill him because he's been trying to die for like 300 years. And so he didn't mean to kill anyone. The guy he was working with said the cage would hold the beast. It did not hold the beast, and that's what happened. So he didn't mean to kill anyone. He was just hoping a bunch of people would stab him and he'd die.
That's so depressing.
Point. It's so like you have to get so desperate to be like, yo, just lock me in a cage and just let anyone try kill me. And I thought it was going to be a whole like animal rights thing, like in the beasts were these creatures that were created and now they're just getting tortured. That's before I realized it was a Beauty and the Beast thing. Before he said he had a curse, I thought that's the direction we were going, and like, you know, they didn't ask to be created this way anyway. Hysterical. But and he's like and she's like, oh my god, you were the beast, you killed my brother. And she gets angry and she's like, I'm still gonna have to kill you. And he's like, I always knew. The whole time he's like, yeah, you have to kill the beast, I know you're gonna do it. Well, and he was like, but you have to promise to live. And she was like, okay. And then he was like,
but you see, what irritates me is that when you make a character go through a learning period and then they've learned their lesson and then you take back that lesson immediately through the circumstances of it because it's understandable, it's very irritating because it's like, okay, so we took one step forward, two steps back each time she learns a lesson. And it's very frustrating as a reader to see that.
Yeah.
Like if it happens once, it's okay, but it happens like several times in this novel.
Yeah. And it's basically the third act breakup.
Yeah.
Where he's like, I'll be in my manor waiting for you. And then she's like, oh, like it's so funny. But anyway, and she's like, yeah, you will. And then she goes back and she's like, Raglan, he's the beast. And Nadia and her are like, because this whole time Nadia and Raglan are like, they're becoming friends. Like,
wait. What's the song again? It's like, in the Beauty and the Beast, the song might be something there
that wasn't there before. Yeah, they're like the like
Mrs. Potts and
Mrs. Pot, like all the inanimate object
Luminaire.
And so this whole time, and then when she comes in and she was like, they're the beast, and they looked at each other and they were like, oh my god,
wow,
she's like,
finally.
you knew. And then Nadia's like, I didn't know he was the beast, I just knew he was a hound. And Raglan was like, I knew he was the beast. And she was like, you have to understand it. So this is where we get like Raglan's involvement. And basically Raglan is half elf, and her mom was human, her dad was an elf. It was assault.
Yes.
To say that as like it was the word you're thinking, that we
And
can't
then
say.
and then mom ran away with child to try to get away from Fairyland and father, but he ended up catching up. It's because Rags as a kid was like, no, I'm tired of this and I'm tired of being poisoned slowly but surely in iron places and stuff like that, to protect against her father. And immediately, of course, her mom catches up with her, and then her father finds them and ends up turning her mother into a hound.
In
Um,
front of like Nadia sees it,
yeah, not
or not
Nadia,
Nadia,
Raglan.
Raglan sees it, and she watches her mother like suffer the whole time and ends up discovering how to end her mother's suffering, because like she can't save her, she can't fix the curse,
Yeah.
and she ends up killing her mother and saving her, and she realizes her like work in the world is to try help hounds who have been cursed and release them from their suffering. So it's not
Yes.
the glee. So like Lysa this whole time has been like, yeah, kill the Fae. I am Fae racist. And then Rags has been, she used Lysa's enthusiasm for her own
As a weapon.
purposes
Yeah.
as a weapon to do the deed, but it was coming from a good place. And like Nadia, what we discover is also a hound,
Hmm.
but she is, her curse was generational, where it wasn't like that her great great grandmother, whoever it was, couldn't die. She just, it got passed. So the seventh daughter of all these people, and so like her grandmother thought she would end it with her by only having 3 children, but it skipped a generation, and she was like, and my mom and my dad liked having sex too much, and so then she ended up being the seventh child, and so she inherited the glyph and ended up becoming the beast. And hers is based on emotions. If she
Emotion.
gets too angry or too upset, she'll turn into the beast, and she killed her whole family going through puberty. Like the first time she got her period, and it like that fear and emotion and all that, and she killed her whole family, and she's like, I'm not a monster, like she's like, I don't know, because she's like, how can you like Alderic? And he was like, she was like, we don't know what's happening when we're beasts, like it's not like I didn't choose to do that, like it's this thing that happened. And she's like, so yeah, I like Alderic because I don't think like it's his fault for what happens when he's a beast. And so it's kind of adding this context to this whole situation, and she's like, no, I'm still going to kill him. And as she's going in, and part of what's happening as she's thinking about it is she's thinking about all the things, like she thinks about, oh man, when his father burnt down the house with the beast inside, did he know that it was Alderic, that he was also trying to kill his son? Did he like know all of like this other stuff? And you
She's also simultaneously making the weapon during
yes,
this time. She and Rags do a ritual, but it's just really hard because she keeps thinking about all the like things that make her affection, oh, that build her affection towards Alderic. And she has her conversation with Nadia, and she finishes up the sword and everything. But she feels very mixed.
yes.
And she ends up going straight to Bleak Haven. She goes towards the residence. She ends up having another run in with Honey on her, not Gonorrhea, Honoria. And uh, she's really upset and frustrated. She's been kind of left behind by her comrades because she was deemed a failure of a leader.
And also because
And
she no longer can get into the Fey world. Like the
yeah,
Geish was
because
also
the
how.
Geish was removed. Yeah, so
Mhm.
she's like desperately trying to find this fairy mound in the area, and get back. And then she's also like, I should have just left it alone. We're not supposed to continue to try to help hounds if they don't want help.
Like if they want to
But
die, we're supposed to let them get killed.
yes, however, it brought me so much satisfaction to take this away from you, and I'm
Because
like,
I
oh my
knew it
god, you're
would
such
hurt
a
you. Yeah,
gosh.
and well, and the reason is she was so upset with, so the betrayal that Lysa felt when Honoria was like, no, 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 we can't be killing these beasts. You need to come. This fairy lady will explain it to you. That betrayal was mirrored for Honoria, where after developing a relationship, being intimate with each other, being vulnerable with each other, Honoria asks her to trust her and to come have a conversation with someone.
And she
and
refuses.
and she doesn't refuse. She stabs a knife through her hand, and she was
Hmm.
like, oh, you will never choose me over your oath. You will never choose me over your revenge and your
And she
hatred.
said, yeah, I will never choose you over it.
Yeah. And so
So
Honoria's like, fuck you.
yeah,
I'll get my own revenge. If you get to live for revenge, I get to live for revenge, bitch. So
fair
actually,
enough.
I not that I love Honoria as a character, but I get the girl's
It's
motivation.
understandable.
I
The
get it.
fact
I
that
get it.
the fact that Lysa actually like stabbed her through the hand like that is pretty
And she
awful.
was just talking to her. They were sitting at a
I know.
table a conversation, and Honoria was like, please, you don't have all the context. I just need you to come have a conversation with this like fairy person. And she's like, stab, fuck you, bitch. But anyway, as she starts getting closer to the castle, she realizes that he has built a prison for himself.
Fortress around himself, yeah.
He's got the high walls, not to keep the beast out, but to keep it in, with those spikes on it. The forest itself, with all of its like thorns, are also another way to keep himself contained.
And others away from peeking in.
Yeah, and he's got the locked gate, and then she realizes there's like multiple gates into the dungeon, and then when she finds him, he's like shackling himself to the wall, and he's like,
but he hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, he's going to, and he's like, I know you didn't want me to make it easy for you, but like I don't want to hurt you. Like I want to die. And she basically learns that like after he got cursed, it became like a bit of a game for people to like because like nobody knew that it was like with the season, so like he gets this curse and everybody's like, are you gonna kill me? So it became a game for women of the royalty to sleep with him and
to see if they could break the curse.
And and I survived the night, and he ends up killing like a high official's daughter, and it becomes this huge like political problem and his dad and his brother are like, no, just kill him, and he can't. He tries to kill himself, it doesn't work.
And so they find him to be a disgrace. And so brother was a military veteran. And so he's like a big monster, human monster into and of himself, it seems like, the way it's described. He tries to kill him, but of course he dies. A horrible death. And then of
his
course
dad burns the house down specifically to be like, everyone's dead. It's all, and then his dad removes any trace of this from like that there was this curse, that his son was cursed from anything, so that it just like it disappears. And he has just been like living life and trying to like figure this out ever since. And so he's like, and when I saw that you killed, that other hound, I finally thought, and then he's like, but then I ended up having feelings for you, and like I don't want to die, but I also want to die, and you can kill me, but I don't want you to die. And she's conflicted, and she's like, whatever. And then he starts turning in the middle of the conversation, so he's not locked up. And she has this moment where she can kind of like go to attack him, but she's not actually ready, and she's like, I need time to think. So she starts running, and she ends up like running out of the castle, and she's like, okay, I'll let him he can't get out of the gate and out of the walls, so I'll give myself some time to think. But then she remembers, oh my god, the gate's unlocked. He left it unlocked so I could get in. And so she's like, oh fuck, there's a big
he's gotten out of the
holiday.
He's going straight beelining for the village or whatever, for the spring holiday or whatever. And she gets his attention. I thought we were going to have a completely different scene, by the way, with this. And I kind of wish we did, but it's fine. Anyway, she gets his attention. He runs after her. She realizes, wow, he's just a mindless beast at one point, because like she thinks she's like evaded him, but he just like blindly goes after her.
Yeah, he didn't know where she was, and once he realizes where she is, he throws himself at the bushes of thorns.
Yeah, to the point where he's hurting himself, and she sees herself in that, especially with her berserker mode. And long story short, she just like she's like, you know what, I can't do this.
Yeah, she's like, he has a monster in him. I have a monster in me that has caused me to kill people thoughtlessly at my own expense. We're
he's chosen as himself to not hurt others, and I couldn't have even made that choice. And so she's like, Alderic, I really love you, blah blah blah.
Yeah, and she was like, because she's like, I'm gonna die, and she's like, I just want you to know I can't do it, I love you. And then like all of a sudden he's over her, and he's like, what the fuck happened? And she's like, yo, and like the curse is broken, he doesn't have the glyph. It takes him, there's this point where she punches him. And she's like, that's for lying to me this whole time. But then basically we get the denouement. They're like traveling around. She decides to have a better relationship with her father. She's redoing the grave at Eddie's thing, so it doesn't say Edmund Cadogan III. And her dad's like, yeah, that makes sense. I know you told me not to never talk to you again, but I just wanted to say. And she's like, maybe we'll get a beer. And he's like, look at you doing things. Nadia and Raglan are happy that the two of them figured it out, and like happy endings for all. That's the book.
That's the end.
Yeah, that's the end.
I kind of wished, though, you know what I kind of would have liked? I think, I'm just kind of thinking about it now, I think I would have liked if he had gone into the village of Bleakhaven, where he's made lots of friends, basically, because people know who he is. And she fought, and they were scared of the beast, but maybe they all knew it was him or something. I don't know, something to the point where it's like, kumbaya, we all come together, and instead of kill, like the whole title, kill the beast, like the whole mob thing, instead it's a reversal of it, and it's like, no, let's save the beast.
Again, book was longer and we could have built up more of their like their relationships with other people, like his
Yeah.
relationships, despite trying to be solitary. He has the grocer who comes and brings him his
Yeah,
groceries
yeah.
every week, the clothier who comes and fits him for his stuff in house, and all that stuff, and the people who are like, oh no, that's a good guy, and he does disappear for months. Like I think that would have been really cool, and
I also
unfortunately.
kind of wish the whole reason the Hound Wardens were there, it's because everybody already knew he was the Beast in that
Oh,
little
and
itty
they
bitty
called,
place.
yeah, they called the
Yes,
Hound Wardens to be
to
like, you
help
need to,
because
yeah, that
she's
would be
there.
super cute. Yeah,
Because she was there for several days before she ended up running into, or like 2 days or
yeah,
something like that, before she ended up running into him. So I just like, yeah, he's the belle of the town.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's what Sopramu said. But I sorry. Anyway, so I was hearing what the temperature was outside from the Google Home adjacent to my room. Anyway, so yeah, but wouldn't that have been cute? Because then it kind of like it would have had that feel good thing that I think she's going for. You
Yeah.
know?
And it would have expanded it to that, like, people can like someone and know someone and like forgive the darker
Yeah.
sides. And just expand it a little bit. But you butch my name each time.
I say it the same each time. So
I
yeah,
know.
it's gonna continuously be butchered.
Butchered. But and again, throughout the entire retelling, and from what we said before, there's just a lot of missed opportunities. There's a lot of interesting themes that don't really get explored. This for me, we've talked about, so when people are like, oh, this is it, like they talk about Fourth Wing, like it's a beach read, and I'm like, no, it's frustrating and annoying. This for me is more of a beach read
Oh
or a turn
yes.
your brain off, don't want to think hard
Down by
at
the
all.
cozy fireside with a cup of tea. Like
Yeah, like,
yes.
and so like from the aspect of like all thoughts, like all vibes, no thoughts, that I can absolutely see how this book like scratches itches, but like critically it just has so many things. And again, for first book, decent, what a great first showing, room for improvement.
I really hope she actually does come across this, because I feel like we had some good points as far
Yeah,
as like where she had those gems and how she could have like really like adorned them to make them really pretty jewelry pieces,
yeah.
if you go with the metaphor. Um, but uh, but yeah. So out of a 10, what would you give it
Oh,
again?
also, wait. I forgot the part. He buys her family home
Oh
from
yeah,
that
but I would like to
family.
ignore that. That was dumb.
I don't like that. You're just moving a family who's been living there for 10 years because Lysa really likes it. And it's not like they move into it at the end. She's just like, maybe one day. So it's just sitting empty for no fucking reason.
Yeah, that was really weird.
I don't
That was
like that.
so bizarre.
And it also feels like I'm trying to buy your love. Like, no. Like, it's so bad.
It was very cringy and strange and very out of touch in
Yeah.
comparison to what he was doing before a little bit. So I thought that was really weird, especially because she already has a home. It's
Yeah.
in the liminal space. So don't
Yeah.
buy her don't shove her back into her trauma in her
that she hasn't
past.
fully processed through. It's a wild. It's so weird. But anyway, I would say like on a 1 to 5, I would say like a 3. But I'm
You said
thinking
that
like
before, I think.
I'm thinking like a 6 out of 10, like an enjoyable 6 out of 10. Flawed, but if you
I would
like,
fully
if
agree with the 6.
yeah, I would say 6 out of 10 is where I would put it. It's definitely like not on like the best lists, and there's enough stuff in it that I'm like, it's a good adjacent, maybe, like, but there's so many problems. Like, the majority of what we've done here is kind of complain about stuff, which is, I think, indicative. And I saw that a lot in the Discord, where people were saying that like there was parts of it they liked. A lot of people liked the second half more than the first half. Again, I think this is a book that just needed an extra 2 hours in the middle to really flesh out their relationship and flesh them out as characters. I think Katie and I have both illustrated how, in a lot of ways, how these are very kind of simplistic characters, where as much as I love the dynamic, and again, I love friendship, like give me friends willing to die each other and that can break a curse.
Also, I love thin, pale, or thin, what, I don't care. Actually, forget the skin tone part. I just like thin, pretty men that like having pretty things on them.
Yes.
Because it's such a fun, like, you can do so much with it, because I don't feel like I see enough of it.
Yeah.
Especially for a main love, or whether you want to call him
Main
a main
character.
love, main interest of some sort.
And like the dichotomy between them, I like that. I love an odd couple. as
Me
a
too.
like it's why I, despite not being like a cop movie person, I love a buddy comedy. You know, like a
I
buddy cop comedy.
as soon as it described her as almost 6 foot and really, really, really muscular with no feminine features, I was like, yes, give it to me.
Yeah.
Give it to
And
me.
then the pretty like again, I thought he was an old man, which I still maintain I really enjoyed during the period. I thought he was an old man. Um but yeah, I love all of that, but it just like there was potential missed here. So it's like we said, 6 out of 10. Katie, do you have anything else?
Nah, that's about it. I think we really captured our opinions in the first hour, so.
Yes. Okay. Well, thanks for being here, guys.
Yes, thank you very much for staying and thank you for your commentary. It was really good, especially some of the stuff that you guys
Oh my
said
god.
earlier. That was like a really good point. So
Chat's on
yeah,
fire today.
yeah. Please join us again for more books and we appreciate your support.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye. I'll press
Are
the
you
end
ending the
part.
stream?
Yep,
Okay,
now
you
I'm
can do
doing it. I'm doing the thing.
there
Bye
you go.
guys.